Stand up, New York Giant fans. Baddog, we normally do this, Thursday night, Friday night, whatever. I texted you on Thursday when we were going to do Patricia's stream, and I said, you know what? Let's just do it on Sunday. The Giants play a night game. We're not used to that. First time we've been playing on Sunday night since 2020 when we got flexed. Daniel Jones' first start on Sunday Night Football. So I said, you know what? Fans are going to be amped up. I know a lot of people probably watching the games anyway, but I can't stop thinking about it. At the end of the day, I don't really care about watching the Eagles right now, the Cowboys right now. Hopefully,
I just have it on Red Zone. And I have a bye in my fantasy week this week, so I don't even really care. I don't know. Me and my buddy are trying to figure out if you still get paid for like having the highest points. Because I can tell you, like right now, him and I have the best team in this in this league. I don't care what anybody says. We finished second overall. We've had 3 players play. Well, 2 finished, and Devontae Smith is still playing. We already have 60 points.
He was having a monster game. I saw that, Devontae Smith.
Yeah, he's over 100 yards. We had Jalen Waddle. He had a massive game last night. We had Christian McCaffrey.
I have him. So, big game this week from him. He got me 28 points.
Yeah, I mean, we still got Burrow and Devontae Adams and Christian Watson to play. And then, of course, I got Taylor Heineke tonight, and I hope he sucks. I mean, I don't even care. I don't even care.
Heineke.
I have him and Gibson on our fantasy team, but it don't matter. We're in a bye, so
we're gonna.
I hope they both suck. Kick their ass. Listen, I'm gonna be amped up for this show. I'm gonna be nervous as hell. I'll be sitting on my hands the whole freaking time.
Oh, listen, man, this game is huge. Like the last game was just as big, but this game even more so now that you're already coming off the tie, and now there's a golden opportunity. And let's talk to everybody in the chat, but there's now a golden opportunity for this Giants team to grab the bull by the horn. I mean, you got Seattle lost. They dropped to 7-7. The Jets are still competing. I don't know if they're going to win, but they're down 3 with the ball.
Sucks. We need the Jets to help us.
Yeah, we'll see. But regardless,
we got Washington plays San Francisco next week.
Yeah, we beat Washington, though, Bad Dog. I think we're going to the playoffs.
And I'll tell you this. I know that Minnesota had the greatest comeback in the history of football. But you're down 33-0 to the Colts. We can beat them. We can beat them. We can beat Indianapolis.
The one thing I took out of that game yesterday, and somebody tweeted it to me, and it made a lot of sense, but the one thing that I took out of that game yesterday between both of those teams, their special teams may be worse than ours. I saw like 6 great kick returns and punt returns. The kick coverage was awful. Both of their defenses were horrible. Yeah. Minnesota's definitely got some weapons. Somebody tweeted this.
Jefferson.
Yeah, Jefferson, and of course, Hockenson. But somebody tweeted me to this on Twitter, and it made a lot of sense. They're like, they're the Giants just with weapons, and they kind of are. That's what I feel the Vikings are. They're our team if we had weapons, and they certainly have some great weapons. They're dangerous, but I think they are beatable.
I don't know if Senor Goots was in the chat, but I hope he's getting on your case about not shaving.
I'm going to shave before the game.
I shaved yesterday.
I was relaxing today. I've been up all day because the World Cup final was today. I watched that. That was great. And then I've been watching the Jet game, and then I figured I'd go live and shave before the game tonight. But
there you go.
The World Cup. I don't know if you watch the soccer, but
no, I was doing leg day today.
Nice.
It's always a brutal. Yeah, listen, I have my day on Saturday where I don't care what I eat, so it's high carbs, high fat, high. It's good stuff. It's cookies. I ate a lot of cookies. All of a sudden become a very sweet tooth guy. I had some pizza. Meatballs and sausage, meatballs and peppers. I had that for lunch and then I had it for dinner, but cookies, had a Heath bar. I love Heath bars, and I had a peppermint mocha coffee. And then, my glycogen storage is full. And then I fast till like 4 o'clock. I ate before we went on here because normally I just fast until 4 o'clock on Sunday. And then I'm ready to go for the rest of the week. But I did not see the World Cup.
I can't wait for tonight, Baddog. I can't get the game out of my head. But let's talk to a couple people in the chat. Let's say hello to everybody. What's going on? I love pie. What's going on? Oh, you changed the name. Unless this is a different name, it no longer says I love 316. But I love pie in the chat. Sean G in the chat. Ryan D in the chat. General from LA in the chat. Space in the chat. Notorious in the chat. David in the chat. Afghanistan in the chat. Patrick John in the chat. Ryan D in the chat. Amazing guy in the chat. MDP in the chat. Thomas Price in the chat. Thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. Appreciate each and every one of you guys as we're getting ready for tonight. Alex says, I understand we're in a rebuild, but I hope Mara doesn't make a last-minute call. No, come on.
He's not going to fire Daboll after 1 year.
the rest of the year it would leave a sour taste. No chance.
Yeah, no way.
This is his first year,
No
and the
way.
Giants
Even
have
Joe
exceeded.
Judge got 2 years, and so did Shermer. There's no way.
And the Giants have already exceeded my expectations. Everybody's got their own expectations going into the year, but we had them at 7 wins, but I had the 7 wins against teams that I thought were going to be less,
Seattle,
weaker
Detroit.
opponents. Yeah, I didn't think we were going to beat the Ravens. I didn't think we were going to beat the Packers. I didn't think we were going to beat the Titans. So they've already exceeded my expectations for the year, regardless of what happens throughout the rest of the year. Of course, if we finish on a sour note, it's going to leave a sour taste in your mouth, both as the owner and his fans. But I think at the end of the year, regardless of what happens, I think maybe not as a fan base, but I think ownership is going to look over it as a step in the right direction. Definitely a lot of positives to take out of the year. But obviously, we want a lot more. We want to play extended football this year. And if we want to do that, Alex, it starts tonight. We got to find a way to get a win against Washington.
Yeah. What Coach Daboll has been able to do with this team is nothing short of miraculous. And you're not going to fire a coach after you just brought in a coach and a GM after 1 year. Even if we went 3-14, you weren't going to fire Brian Daboll. The Giants are playing meaningful games in December. We haven't done that since 2020. And the only reason that was meaningful is because the division was absolutely horrendous. It's not like we were good. We were not a good team either. We almost won that by default. Washington ended up winning it by default and need a little help from Philadelphia to sit their starters or sit Jalen Hurts at the end of that game. But this, for the first time, the entire year, we've been over 500. The entire season, we hadn't been over 500 at any point since the end of 2016 until this year. So what Brian Daboll has been able to do with the lack of talent, and what Shane's been able to do with no cap space and so many injuries, it's nothing short of a miracle. It really is. We should have beat this damn team the first time we played them. Yeah, I'm nervous, but I feel good about tonight. I do.
Yeah, I'm nervous too. I'm definitely nervous because I know everything that's on the line for this game. Not Daboll. Daboll's not on the line. Daboll's definitely getting at least another year. He's probably going to get at least 2 more years, regardless. Especially being that
they haven't taken their quarterback yet, man.
Yeah, they haven't taken their quarterback. At the end of the day, and we agree. We think that Jones is coming back next year, but that's not set in stone. And even if Jones does come back next year, like you said, even if they have a bad year after this, then they're going to take their quarterback. And that's kind of when the clock starts for both of them, in my opinion, unless Jones takes a huge leap. And then you keep riding with him. And we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out over Brian Daboll and Joe Shane's career. But yeah, they're not, in jeopardy in terms of losing their jobs. But there's players on this team, namely Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, that, they got to show up tonight. There's no doubt about it.
There's no question. Those two guys got to play out of their skull.
Yeah, and listen, they already may have the decision made up whether they're coming back or whether they're not. But a strong performance tonight could only help, in terms of the probability of them remaining on as New York Giants in 2023.
Needless to say, this will be the biggest game of Daniel Jones's career so far. I don't think there's any question.
Both those players,
right? But obviously, more the spotlight's on Daniel Jones because people know Saquon's just dealt with injuries. He's an incredibly talented guy, but he's the running back. I mean, all the focus is on the quarterback here. We all know Daniel Jones has never won on prime time. We've heard the freaking numbers. He's 0-8, whatever. He's Kirk Cousins. He can't win on prime time and blah, blah, blah. We've heard this a million times. And it's not really his fault that he lost the last time he played Washington in prime time. He didn't jump off sides in the missed field goal, but he's got to play great, and there's no question because he and Saquon are weapons on offense, and that's really it. So these guys got to step up, and again, it's going to go a long way in what the Giants do with Daniel Jones in the future. Chris, you mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. This is not just important for the Giants, but it's important for the future. It could definitely redirect what they do in the future. If Jones and Barkley come out and have big games and the Giants win this, it doesn't even matter what they do in the postseason. If they're able to win this game, which is the equivalent of a postseason game, and they have a good game, then you're probably saying, okay, we can move forward with these guys. If they come out and they stink, and we do end up missing the playoffs, then it may be a completely different direction that they go. This game is huge.
Yeah, especially because of the way that the season played out. The fact that you started 7-2-1 or whatever. No, 7-2 rather. 6-1, 7-2. And you were staring the playoffs right in your face. If you lose this game, suddenly you've now gone 5 straight weeks without a win, one of which was a tie. So, It's just not a good way to end the season. Daboll talked about it. This is where the games mean the most, and this is where we need these players to step up. Now, obviously Jones needs help. We got to be able to block. The offensive line last week was pathetic, and hopefully the New York Giants are able to provide him with some time, and the New York Giants can make some plays, but there's no doubt about it. This is a high-pressured game for both Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, even more so Jones because he's the quarterback.
I also, you mentioned this. I don't know if it was on when we did the show with Patty, but you mentioned earlier in the year we did a little up-tempo stuff. And I would like to see them incorporate some hurry-up offense in this game just to kind of mix up the flow. I felt like they did play better when they did that. I'm not saying they have to run the entire game in a hurry-up, but, yeah, the no-huddle type of thing, it'd be good. Sometimes it gets a quarterback in a rhythm. It can wear down the defense when you're up tempo, and it could help the offensive line, especially in the running game when you're just getting up there and you run block. I'd like to see. Listen, you can't leave anything on the table tonight. Daniel Jones needs to use his legs. We need to run some RPO tonight. Daniel Jones needs to scramble. Nothing left here. This is it. This is like going into the gym. You don't leave anything in there. Okay. Yeah. You put out, or I'm sorry, you don't take anything out of there with you. You leave this game, you leave it all on the field tonight. There's no question about that. You don't walk out of there going, oh, we should have done this. We should have done that. We should have done this. Maybe we could have done this. No, this is it. Yeah. You go out there and you give it 150%. You leave everything on that field. I don't want anybody taking anything off that field with them tonight.
Yeah.
Get it done.
And unlike the first Washington game, don't beat yourselves. Don't have the stupid penalty by John Feliciano. Don't drop the ball if you're Darius. We need to execute tonight. As a Giants fan, you watched the games yesterday. I watched all three of them, and you really grow an appreciation for guys that could catch the football. These guys need to hold on to the football today, too. It's not just all on Daniel Jones. They need to make plays. This is a big, big game, and we need these players to step up. And I know we're outmanned. We don't have the most talent on the field more often than not, but there's a huge game, and the Giants have to find a way to win it. The season depends on it. A lot of players' careers as Giants may depend on it. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm nervous about the game, really nervous about the game, even more so nervous than the first time around because of everything that's on the line.
There's no cushion now.
Especially if the Jets don't help us out, right? We'll see how the rest of that game plays out. But
I saw somebody in the chat say, how about them Cowboys? Now, I don't know if they're being sarcastic or facetious, but the Cowboys are in a battle with the Jaguars. So I don't know.
Yeah, they were destroying them, but now it looks like
Jags just scored a touchdown. It's 27-24.
Yeah, dude, Lawrence is good, man.
Yes, he is.
He's been playing a lot better down the stretch. John, man, what's going on, man? Thank you very much. He says, guys, I think the Giants fall today to end it. The season. If the Jets win this game, the season would not be over. But obviously, it puts a big dent in our playoff possibilities. I'm not going to look at it like the season's over if we lose, but obviously,
we're on life support.
We go from a team that could basically clinch the playoffs if they win tonight to a team that needs to win probably 2 out of the last 3 games. And that will not be easy. So we'll see. But yeah, it would certainly hurt it. It would definitely hurt it, and we'd be in trouble if we didn't win today. Let's put it that way.
What is going on with it? The Texans scared the hell out of the Cowboys last week, and now they're giving the Chiefs everything they want and more.
The Texans are a funny team, man. They've done this several times this year where they've played up to their level of competition. They don't normally win, but they keep it close. They're a funny team. They've done this a lot this year. So yeah, hopefully the Jets could win, but it looks like Detroit's got the ball right now. Caleb, man, thank you very much, man. Messi started my day right. DJ finishes it tonight. Yeah, I was glad for Messi, man. He's, I don't watch a lot of soccer. I watch the World Cup, but he's basically the Babe Ruth of soccer. So I was happy for him to finally get his first
the Babe Ruth of soccer is Pele, but
yeah, well, he's up there though. I mean, Messi's supposed to be like many feel is the greatest soccer player of all time. But regardless, I was happy to see him get a championship today. It was an incredible game. If you watch the game. So yeah, it was
someone in the chat said confusion, Bad Dog, clean shaven, Chris Sunshine. We try to switch it up. We're trying to switch the vibes.
I had to switch it up today.
For the game.
You know what? Maybe I won't shave for the game today. Maybe that'll bring
good. Just switch it up.
Maybe the non-shaved look will bring good luck to the Giants. But then I can't shave. I can't do that. I have to shave before the game.
Yeah.
I'll look like a lunatic.
It's okay. Henry, man, there's probably gonna be a lot of lunacy in that stream tonight. So
there's definitely gonna be a lot of lunacy in the stream tonight. And Henry, man, thank you so much, man, for the $5 donation, man. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for being here, buddy. And Gundy, man, thank you very much. Bad Dog isn't worried about Dotson, Scary Terry. He should be. I mean, I think he is.
They got weapons. I wasn't worried about it. Didn't I just say I'm extremely nervous?
Yeah, they got weapons, and I'm even more scared about our ability to cover their weapons than their weapons themselves. We saw how bad our corner play was last week without Adoree Jackson, and now you're going up against at least an average wide receiving core. So, yeah, I mean, Terry cooked us the first game.
Yes, he did.
And I also, like we talked about earlier in the week, I also worry about their running game. I think Brian Robinson did a great job against us the first time around, and I actually thought Washington did a bad job getting away from that. So they definitely scare me. Hopefully Leonard Williams back in the lineup can help the defense today, but they got some weapons. There's no doubt about it. I do think, though, like you've talked about, we're going to have opportunities to create turnovers because
got to blitz, got to bring it.
Got to blitz. And you watch their quarterback the first time around when we played them. Taylor Heineke must have sailed 5 or 6 throws.
He does that when he's under pressure, man.
Yeah, he's not allergic to making mistakes. If the Giants can get pressure on him, I do think we'll have opportunities to create turnovers in this game. But I'm absolutely scared of their weapons. They definitely got some weapons in the passing game.
Yes, they do.
And
they do indeed.
Gundy says Robinson, Gibson, Brown. Yeah, they got what? Listen, I give respect to Washington. They got a team. They got a squad. They got a good team. Washington is kind of like the Jets to me, where they have a pretty good all-around roster, but they have a big question mark at the quarterback position. They're kind of like the Jets to me. They got weapons, much like the Jets. I think the Jets' defense is a bit better than theirs overall, but they're a pretty well-rounded roster. Obviously, they got a major question mark with the quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. That's the whole point. You can get some pressure on Heineke. It's not going to matter who the hell's out there. So get pressure on him, force turnovers. That's what it is.
And Gundy says, and the defense is what it is. So are we just hoping? No, I don't think we're just hoping. I think if the team executes, we can beat. Like, I don't understand this mindset going into this game, by the way. I'm not saying that we should be favored. Washington's favored. They had an extra week to prepare. They're at home. They had the bye. I get all that. This is a team, Baddog, we should have beat by 10 points the first time we played them.
Yep.
If we don't have the stupid penalty at the end of the game by John Feliciano, we beat them by 10 points. And that was after we spotted them 10 points at the beginning of the game.
Agreed.
So I don't understand this mindset by Giants fans or some Giants fans going into this game thinking that we have no chance to win this game. I think we absolutely have a chance to win this football game. We absolutely have a chance to win this football game.
We should have beat them the first time we played them.
Yeah.
There's no way. Washington's not – they're not a high-flying – they want to do what we do. Yeah, they have Terry McLaurin. They have Jahan Dotson and all that. But they don't – you want them throwing. If you want a Taylor Heineke dropping back throwing the ball, the more likely he is to turn the ball over. I'd much rather them throw the ball 45, 50 times than run Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we got a shot. I'm not saying that we should be favored, but I definitely think we got a shot. And I think if we play fundamentally sound, don't turn the ball over, we'll probably win.
Do what we bet. That's the way we won our games at the beginning of the year. So you got to do. I mean, it's easier said than done. It's not like Washington's just going to allow us to have our way with them. But
of course,
I don't think that they're head and shoulders better than we are. I think they're even. I've said that before. These two teams are mirror images of one another, and it played out on the field. Mirror images ended up in a tie.
I think they have an overall better roster. I think they're better at the skill positions. I think they have a better offensive line. And they probably have at least equal to, if not more talent on defense, if I'm being honest, with some of the injuries that we have right now.
Who doesn't have a better offensive line than us?
No, it's about even maybe. But we have the better quarterback, in my opinion. And that could go a long way. Jones has to take care of the football, and he needs to make plays. And we
have the better running back, too.
We definitely have a better running back. But we need to force some turnovers. That's what it comes down to. And Jones has to do what he's done for the most part this year, be smart with the football, and make a few plays if they're there to be made. But it's going to come down to our defense creating turnovers if we're going to win this game.
Agreed.
And not giving up the ball ourselves.
Agreed.
Gundy, man, thank you very much, man. I had 50 letters, so my messages were chained. Oh, okay. And Dharma, man, what's going on, man? Messi finally with a cup. Viva Maradona, named after the GOAT. Now let's go, Big Blue. We need this one, and it's going to come down to our lines. It always does.
Yep.
It always comes down to our lines. And yeah, I mean, if we have a game like we had last week and a game like we had against Dallas the first time around, and you allow Daniel Jones to get pressured 30 times, yeah, we're not going to win.
Right.
So it absolutely is going to come down to the lines, and it's going to come down to putting us in the best position to succeed. One thing I'd like to see in this game, and I think we saw it against Jacksonville, if I recall, early on in the year. I definitely think we have to stick to the run. We can't get away from that, but much like the Jacksonville game, I'd like to see the New York Giants come out throwing the ball to try to set up the run, because the run has not been working the last 3 or 4 weeks. We've become very predictable. I'd like to see them come out throwing the ball on early downs and try to loosen up that defense a bit, and maybe that opens up some running lanes for Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, and I'd like to, right away, I'd like to see up-tempo on offense. Just come out up-tempo, and listen, I know Daniel Jones fumbled the first drive that we had against Washington, but you saw that he's able to run. Listen, teams, we don't have a great passing game. And whether that has to do with Daniel Jones, the wide receivers, the offensive line, whatever you want to talk about, we don't. Okay. Nobody's scared of us beating them through the air. So teams definitely put a bullseye on Saquon, say we got to stop the Giants run. Everybody knows if you're going to stop the Giants, you have to stop 26.
Yeah.
So when you're so focused on that guy, this is why I'm saying in this game, I'm not an advocate of having Daniel Jones run a ton because you don't want your quarterback to get hurt. But in this game, he's got to run the ball 10 times. The Giants have got to do that. The Giants have got to make Washington hesitate who's got the ball. Because if Daniel Jones can be effective, it's going to help Saquon. Because all it takes is that split second of indecisiveness for the defense for your offensive line to create a hole, and then Barkley's gone. So that's what you got to see more Daniel Jones run the ball. Again, this is all or nothing. This is it. I know if we lose, our season's not over. But I know if we win, we probably got like a 90% chance going to the playoffs. So
90%, especially if the Jets could pull up this win. But even if they don't, I'd still say 90%, because at that point, if we win this game, the only way Washington would pass us is we'd have to go 0-3, and they'd still have to win 1 out of their last 3 if we were to do that. Or if we won 1 out of our last 3, they'd have to go 3-0.
Yeah.
A schedule which includes the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. So if we're going to get in over Washington, I think if we win this game, and then it comes down to Seattle, who plays the 49ers next week, looks like they're probably going to drop to 7-8, and we'll see what the Lions do. So if the Giants win this game, I'm in complete agreement with you. I think it's 90% we're going to the playoffs. I would even put it at least 40%.
Well, San Francisco just beat
San Francisco. Looks like the best team in the NFC right now.
But didn't they just play Seattle? I thought they just played Seattle.
They just played Seattle. They play Washington, rather.
Yeah, they play Washington. They definitely help us out a lot. So.
They play Washington. Seattle plays Kansas City, even better.
Yeah.
Kansas City.
Right.
So
it's big.
If the Giants win this game, they're in really good shape.
Right, because Seattle probably will go to 7-8. You would think that Washington will go to 7-1.
Yeah.
And, again, we have the Vikings. I'm not saying that we're going to beat them, but
on short rest,
the Colts, we should be able to beat the Colts.
I think we can beat the Colts.
And then the Eagles might have nothing to play for.
Jeff Saturday, man. My God, what an embarrassment of a hire that was.
I don't know why they did that. Listen, I forgot who it was. Somebody went off on NFL Network about them hiring him. I forgot who it was. Or it was Bill Cowher. I'm sorry. Bill Cowher went off about that hire because he said, what the hell are you doing? The guy's got no experience. Why would you give him a job?
Well, and it's also spitting in the faces of every coach.
That's what he was pissed off about.
Those guys work their asses off to get the opportunity, and then the opportunity presents itself, and you hire an NFL analyst. Yeah. But yeah, yesterday they blew a 33-0 lead. Come on.
Yeah,
man.
It was terrible.
And he definitely had some questionable decisions from within that game. And Chill's daddy says Matt wins again. Yeah, referring to the rant I went on a couple of weeks ago when people were asking me about the playoff possibilities while I was live. Yeah, I was just going over the math, Chill. I was just going over the math. Let's see what we got here. Amazing guy says Giants need 9, including Washington. I think we get him with 9, excluding Washington, with the way that this schedule looks like it may play out. But obviously 9 with Washington is a lot more obtainable than 9 without it, because you got the Vikings, you got the Eagles.
Right.
So this is a huge game. We got to find a way to win this game. I'm not
downplaying the Eagles might have nothing to play for.
Yeah.
So they might just rest their guys.
Yeah. But we'll see.
Although their backups are probably as good as our starters, most of the part anyway.
It's entirely possible, by the way, all 4 teams in the NFC East could still make the playoffs.
That'd be awesome.
It's very possible.
By the way, I don't think we'd be playing San Francisco. I think we'd be playing Minnesota.
Depends what seed we finish with, but Minnesota, I think is going to end up getting the 3 if I had to. Well,
they'd get the 2.
Yeah, they won. Yeah, they're probably going to get the 2. So if we get the 7, we'd play. Yeah, we would play Minnesota.
I'd rather get the 7 and play Minnesota. I don't want any part of San Francisco.
Yeah, I much prefer playing Minnesota.
Oh, no part of that team.
49ers are the best team in the NFC. I've been saying it since the start of the year.
They might be the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, they're loaded. And yeah, Brock Purdy. That's when you know you got a good football team, by the way, Baddog. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, steps in. The team doesn't miss a beat.
They lost Deebo Samuel, and the team's not missing a beat.
Yeah, that team is loaded.
Team is freaking good.
Yeah. And Bob, man, thank you very much, man. He says, LT was asked if he had any advice for the Giants D, and he said, show me some nuts. Love the true goat. Yeah, I saw that. Somebody posted that on Twitter. Show us your nuts. I don't want to actually see your nuts, but show us your nuts.
Not literally, but yes. Get out there, big dick swinging, knock someone in the mouth.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm with you. And listen, the one good takeaway, major good takeaway from the last time we played Washington for me, and there were definitely good spurts for the offense too. Daniel Jones and the offense had 4 straight drives where we put up points. I think that was only the second time we have done that all year. But the defense, the pass rush that game was far and away the best performance the pass rush has had all year.
Yeah.
The last time we went up against this Washington team.
Yeah, listen, I thought the game was going to end when Thibodeau came off the edge there and how about the Jacksonville Jaguars just took the lead on the Dallas Cowboys?
Good.
That Trevor Lawrence kid can play.
Yeah. Oh, he's good.
Play. But yeah, man, I thought when Thibodeau came off the edge, I thought it was over. I thought Heineke I have no idea how Heineke held on to that ball. I thought it was done. But listen, Azeez Ojulari had a couple of sacks. Thibodeau had a sack. There's no reason to think that we can't force turnovers in this game. Again, I'm not sitting. Every team scares me, man. Every team, because we're not a fantastic roster, but I feel like I just feel good about tonight. Don't know why. I'm still nervous as hell, and I'm not saying that I'm guaranteeing. I'm not Joe Namath out here guaranteeing a victory, but it's funny. I feel better this time around than I did last time.
Which is funny because all the variables point towards that this should be the much harder game.
I know, but for some reason, I feel like early on, Chris, the Giants really got to be aggressive because sometimes when teams come out of a bye, they're a little lackluster at the beginning of the game.
Yep.
So I feel like we really have to, because it might take them a little while to get into the flow of the game, but I feel like we really have to be aggressive on both sides of the ball. Like you said, throwing to open up the run may be something that we do. I would like to see Kafka get a little bit more creative. He was creative at the beginning of the year. Then all of a sudden, it's kind of like we toned it down and throttled it down, and we're just a basic offense like we're playing in the preseason. I'd like to see more, and again, maybe the injuries have something to do with that, but do something different. Change up a little bit.
So for me, it's the same game plan against Jacksonville. Like I said, and that's what I expect. I think they are going to come out throwing the ball a bit today to try to loosen up that.
Daniel Jones had 100 yards rushing in that game, so.
Yeah, I do. I think we're gonna come out throwing the ball a bit to try to loosen up that defense, and then maybe we get the run game established as the game progresses. I think that will be the game plan, but we'll see. Let's see. No fear, Mike says. Can't have fear. I mean, this is it. This is a playoff game, Baddog. This is just as big as the game against the Vikings if we make the playoff. Like, this is a playoff game. That's
it is absolutely. It is the equivalent of a playoff game.
Yeah, it's that big. It's that big today, and
we haven't had one of those since you and I started this show, and this is our 5th season doing this.
Yeah, you could. I guess you could argue the last game of the season in 2020, but even that game,
we needed
help too. Even if we won, we needed help.
We don't really need help at this. We control our own destiny at this point.
Yeah,
and this victory tonight, we can get it, goes a huge way to controlling our own destiny. We really just need to win one more game.
Oh, if we win this one more game and we're in.
Yep.
Whether that be the Colts, whether that be Eagles, whoever, one more game and we're in if we win today. What's up, Johnny Kelly, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Remember the Bills game in 2007? I do. That was late in the year. That was a big win for sure. That was the game before the Patriots game, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Was that it might have been the Jets game before the Patriots game? I know we had
maybe it was. We played obviously the Jets in 2011 was the Victor Cruz.
That was the Victor Cruz one, but I'm pretty sure we ended up maybe that was the game I'm thinking of. But yeah, the Bills game, we were down 14-0 before we could blink an eye, and that was obviously the big run by Ahmad Bradshaw, a 77-yard touchdown run in the snow. That was the one that we clinched, but yeah, that might have been the day before the Patriots. Yeah, if I remember 29-14 against the Jets, that was the one with the Victor Cruz 90. That was 2011.
Yeah, if I remember, I think, and I was at the game before that one, we played Washington in a big game. That was
Eli was
Shockey
bad.
got hurt.
Eli
Shockey got hurt in that game. That was a horrible
Eli
game.
was bad in that game too.
Really bad.
He said, I remember the America's game. He set a record for like most incompletions or something. And they're like, he's like, yeah, I was trying to set a lot of records that year. He was like 18 for 40. It was something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at that. I had the worst luck that year. I went to 3 Giants games. They lost all 3. I went to the Cowboys game, the Washington game, and the Packers game. They lost all 3, and then obviously they won the Super Bowl.
Jets are down by 3. Come on, Jets. You know what? I'm getting off of this freaking. I'm getting off this red zone.
Lions have the ball deep in Jets territory, though.
I see him at the 37. And
So
I hit the wrong
approaching field goal range. Lou, man, what's going on, man? Giants' biggest worries is the Commanders' confidence and momentum. Roster versus roster, and you could make up for some deficiencies. But who has momentum? Yeah, I mean, I think they have obviously a little bit more momentum than – well, they don't really have momentum. They're coming off the bye. They tied against us. But the way that game ended, you could certainly argue that they got some momentum out of it. The next week, we lost to a team we were supposed to lose to. We got destroyed. We did not play a good football game. I don't know how much momentum plays a factor in this game. I think you could have argued the momentum was more of a factor going into the first game, where Washington, I think, had won like 4 straight, and the Giants had just had 2 straight losses, and the Giants found a way to at least tie that game. I don't know how much momentum plays a factor in this game. I'm more worried about just them having the better overall team. I just think that they're going in with all the injuries that we have. They have the better overall team. What'd you say?
The Jets just jumped off sides. It's going to be 3rd and 1 now.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know how much momentum plays a factor going into this game.
Someone says if DJ loses this game, it's over for him. So let me hypothetical. What if Daniel Jones is 22 for 30 with 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, and we lose 24-21? Is it over for him because he has a good game, but the team doesn't win? That's why the wins and losses can't always be hung on just the quarterback alone. He's the biggest part of it, obviously, especially offensively. But there's 2 sides to football. And there's a third part of football that one talks about, and we should know it. It's our special teams. Our special teams are freaking terrible.
Awful.
You can't always just saddle everything on the quarterback. Yeah, he's a major part. He's the main part of a team. He's the most important part of a team. But my God, if the Giants give up 5 touchdowns and they score 4, how can you blame the quarterback? I mean, I watched Eli Manning throw 6 touchdowns against the Saints, no turnovers, 350 yards, and lose 52-49. Is that Eli's fault?
All I'm going to say is no matter what they do, they better improve the surrounding roster, because whoever you put at the quarterback in 2023, whether it's Daniel Jones or whether it's a rookie, they're in big trouble until there's significant improvements on this overall offense.
You got to get the offensive line. And you
got to get them some weapons.
I want a wide receiver, but my God, we need to fix this offensive line first.
I'm watching the game yesterday, Bad Dog. The Dolphins' 3rd wide receiver, I think, is Wilson. The guy makes a helmet catch in the snow. Like, our guys drop routine balls. Like, we need significant upgrades around this entire roster, whoever the quarterback is. And I know they will. That's going to be the focal point this offseason. But, yeah, there's more to it than just the quarterback. I know that that's what everybody wants to harp on, but there's more to it than just the quarterback. What happened?
The short. Lions missed a field goal. Jets allowed it at the 44.
So they got a shot to at least tie it. And Jason says, I'm hyped for tonight, fellas. I really believe our pass rush will take over the game. No Chase Young tonight either. Well, they haven't had Chase Young all year. I'm actually on my way to Washington now to see the game. This is a must-win game in terms of the playoffs this year. Absolutely.
Really? Chase Young's not playing again? I thought for sure he was questionable the first time we played.
Yeah.
And I figured they were just resting him because why force him back? Still not playing.
Wow. Yeah, not playing.
No, you don't want no part of Andrew Thomas. I mean, Chris, if you were going against Andrew Thomas, wouldn't you take a sick day?
I'd probably take a sick day if I was going up against Andrew Thomas, especially the way that he's handled him in the past.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'd take a sick day too.
Even I wasn't too concerned with him because I felt like even if he did play, it was going to be limited because the guy hasn't played all year. So I figured they'd probably ease him back in. But that's obviously good news that Young's not playing. He's definitely a guy that could disrupt the passing game, especially with our offensive line. So they still got a good D line though. I'm not taking them for granted. They definitely have some talent on that side of the ball.
Yeah, listen, like I said, these 2 teams are very evenly matched, in my opinion. Their wide receivers are better. You and I could put together a team, and we'd have better receivers. I mean, there's no team in the NFL that has worse receivers than us, talent-wise. No. It's not because these guys don't try, but my God, I mean, look at who the hell's out there, okay? Nobody's fielding that wide receiving core. Not close. Somebody has at least an NFL-level talent. I mean, Isaiah Hodgins has been good for us. Slayton, if he catches the ball, is good.
Here's the thing with Isaiah Hodgins, and I love Isaiah Hodgins. It was a good pickup by Joe Schoen. But Isaiah Hodgins to me is like Fabian Moreau on the other side. Like it's a guy that should never be starting for your football.
We're picking up guys off that weren't even in the NFL to play in this team.
Like he's playing well, given the opportunity. But if he's starting on the team next year, I'm going to seriously question this wide receiving core. He's not a starting caliber wide receiver.
There's no player on our wide receiving core outside of maybe Golladay, who's just been invisible, that's making the starting lineup in any other team in the NFL. Maybe the Texans. Maybe they're 1-11-1. Maybe
Brandon Cooks is better than any receiver we have.
I know, but I'm saying maybe Darius Slayton is a number 2 or number 3 somewhere else. But
yeah.
Not here. It's like he's our number 1. It's insane. But listen, Washington, the Giants are the same. They have better receivers. We have a better running back. I feel like we have a better quarterback. I feel like our defense is better. I don't know if it's better, but I think it's better. I think that our front seven's better than theirs. Maybe not our linebacking core. We got 2 good edge rushers.
I think our pass rush is at least on par.
Our pass rush is better.
I would say it's at worst on par with theirs. Probably better, especially without Chase.
Your secondary is better because of all of our damn injuries.
Yeah, every secondary is better than ours right now.
If we had Adoree Jackson and Xavier McKinney out there, I'd feel a lot better.
Yeah.
So
somebody
I put a poll on my YouTube community notes asking which jersey I should wear. Now Saquon's in the lead, but I hope I can find that. I found the Daniel Jones one. I don't know where my Barkley one might be up in my bedroom in the closet. It's not down here. I want to see where that is. I put that up there. It's a huge game tonight. Which jersey am I wearing? So, Saquon has the big lead. He got the 52%. Seahorn 13%. McKinney 12%. Jones 22%.
So you're going with Saquon?
It looks like Saquon's going to be the one.
Maybe I'll go with the Jones then.
We'll see. I can find the damn thing. And now I have to hit the head because this is Sunday. This is usually what I do. Sunday. I'll talk
to the chat. How you doing? Says, is Golladay playing today? Does it matter? Like I at this point, who cares if Galladay's playing today or not? Isaiah Hodgins is much better than he is. Darius Slayton is much better than he is. Kenny Golladay has 10 targets this year. He's dropped 4 balls. He's been a complete disaster since the New York Giants signed him. So my answer to you is, does it matter? To me, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Somebody said, what a catch. I'm a little bit behind on the Jets game. I'm about to see it now. Pull it up on my phone. And, Zach Wilson just hit a bomb up to the 20. So the Jets already in field goal range to tie it. There was a flag on the play, but I'm guessing based off what the chat said, it was probably DPI. And the Jets are going to have a first down. So Jets are going to have it at the 20, already in field goal range. Let's see what we got. Gallo. What's going on? Don, man, thanks for popping in the stream, man. Yeah, we need bodies. He's just not a very valuable body. I think I'd rather see anybody. I'd rather see Richie James than Kenny Golladay out there. Kenny Galladay's been a disaster.
I had to laugh on my way in there when someone says Golladay playing and you said doesn't matter. I mean, he may be out in the field. I don't know if you consider what he does playing, but hey, the Jets are in field goal range. You got it at the 21.
Yeah, they're in a good spot. I got it up on my phone. I'm a little bit behind you, but Jets got it near the red zone now at the 21.
Now they're at the 10. Now they're at the 6.
So they must have just hit a big play there, a run.
Yeah.
Oh no, they stuffed the run. I'm 2 plays behind you because I got it on the app. So they got it at the 6 now.
Yep.
I'll let you tell me what happens before it does.
Barrios just caught it at the 15 and ran himself at a 6. Whoever Barrios is, it sounds like a guy we'd have on our team. Actually, he was down at the 7.
So it looks like the Jets are gonna maybe take the lead here with under 5 minutes.
Give the ball to Zonovan Knight and let him get in the damn end zone. Don't turn the damn ball over here.
I'll tell you what, the Jets defense is really good.
It is really good. That's why Francesa said the Jets are closer than the Giants.
They definitely are.
There we go. Get in there. Oh, down at the 1.
So they're going to score.
I think that's Carter.
So they're going to score. So that's, I mean, if the Jets could hold on and win this game, that'd be big for the Giants.
Huge. Listen, the Jets are our friend, and San Francisco has been our friend. They have to be our friend next week too. Just we got to win this game today, please, man.
OVO says,
listen, I don't give a damn if we lose 48-0 in the first round of the play. I just want to, and we won't because we're not well, if we played San Fran, it might be pretty bad. But I don't care. I just want to get there. And again, the experience level for all these guys A quarterback snuck it. I don't think that they got in. They're not the Eagles. The Eagles are unstoppable on that. They're really close.
So 2nd and goal at the half.
The tight end is saying they're in. I don't know where is that. Is the ball's over the line? I don't know where they marked him down though.
We'll see if they
now
get
in. Celebrate. I think they did give this to him.
So the Jets are in?
I don't know. It's really close. Depends on where they blew him dead.
It says 2nd and goal at the 1. Oh, well, I'm going to play behind though on the app.
It depends.
Carter got
they
stopped.
Called it a touchdown, I think.
Did they? Okay.
Oh, it's a touchdown. Come on, he's in.
In. Yeah, there it is. There's the 2nd and goal play with Wilson on the QB sneak. Depends on the spot.
Come on, Jets.
Did they score? Did they give it to him? They did. They did. Yep, touchdown Jets.
Come on, Jets. Big extra point.
So the Jets now lead by 4 with 4:35 to go.
Come on.
They're going to win. Jared Goff's not going to the field against their defense. He's been horrible all game.
Goff's going to throw a pick.
Yeah, Jets are going to win this game.
Let's go.
Oh, there's a review. Joseph Santiago.
Well, they review all scoring plays.
Right. So we'll see.
I don't know how you can ever overturn this. You can't see anything. It's ruled a touchdown. That helps the Jets. You can need definitive evidence to overturn it.
I think he's in. I'm seeing the replay now. I think he's in. And like you said, if he wasn't,
there's nothing to show that he's not. What are they circling there? You can't see anything at that point.
I think this is one of those calls that whatever they call it,
it's got to stand.
Yeah. If they called it not,
his elbow's down there, but where's the ball? I go to a commercial break.
We'll see. Let's see what we got. You have to sign back talent to help develop our young rookies next year. I don't think they're going to let everybody go, if that's what you're saying, but we'll see at the end of the year. Yeah. Jason, man, thank you very much. He says, I know this may be unpopular, but I wouldn't be mad if Shane did not re-sign Barkley. I wouldn't be upset at him if he didn't. I love Barkley.
About it either.
I wouldn't be upset about it. Use that money for a guard, center, linebacker, or corner. You could grab a running back at the draft to prove the team. Yeah, listen, no matter what he does, I'm not going to scream. I understand that this is Joe Shane's show. He inherited these players. He's going to get to decide which players he wants to push forward with. Yeah, I see value in bringing back Barkley, especially under the right circumstances. But like you said, you could find running backs in the draft, right? So I'm not going to get mad at him if he doesn't sign him to a $14 million a year contract. I'm just not. But we'll wait and see what the plan is in the offseason. I think they're going to try to bring him back, but they're not going to be willing to meet him on what he's looking for in terms of his contract demand. So it could get messy. Right. We'll see.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah,
I've said this before. If he comes back, awesome. If he doesn't, awesome. The same thing with Daniel Jones, right? I'm believing in Joe Shane's vision. And if Joe Shane feels Saquon Barkley is a piece they need to win a Super Bowl and brings it back here, I'm okay with it. If Joe Shane says we don't need Barkley and we can take that money and put it elsewhere, like into the offensive line or a number one wide receiver, and draft a running back in the 3rd round that can be effective and doesn't need to be a superstar, I'm okay with that too. When I did the pros and cons video about Jones and Barkley, I mentioned it before, there's a lot of teams that win Super Bowls without a superstar running back. We won 2. Jacobs was very good. Bradshaw was good. They were a nice combination. They were not superstar running backs. We had a very good running game. A very good running game is different than having a very good running back.
The 49ers are a perfect example.
Well, they got Christian McCaffrey.
Before they got him, though, they had one of the best running.
But even the Chiefs, I mean, who was the Chiefs running back when they won the Super Bowl? I mean, who was Tom Brady's running backs when they were winning Super Bowls?
Yeah,
you don't really need it. So, again, I'm of the whatever he decides to do, I'm cool with. I'm not going to cry in my beer if he doesn't sign, and I'm not going to scream and yell if he does come back here, because I'm believing in what our GM believes in. I'm giving him a chance now. If he sucks for 3 years and the 4th year comes in, then I might start questioning him like we started to do with Gettleman.
Yeah.
But I got to believe his vision, whatever that vision may be.
Yeah, got to give the guy an opportunity regardless. This is false, OVO. You said Tyrod's on the book for $11 million next year. I think it's $6.5 million, maybe $7 million. It's definitely not $11 million next year. But we'll see. Blake, man, thank you very much, man. Is it just me, or does it seem a majority of the fan base is higher on DJ than Saquon? I definitely think Saquon's the better player, Blake.
Blake, I can't.
But for me, it comes down to the position. If I was a GM, you can get talent at the running back position. I think Saquon's the better player. for sure. But paying Saquon Barkley the same amount of money or near the same amount of money you'd have to pay Daniel Jones at the quarterback position puts a lot more hurt on your salary cap and on your overall roster.
They overturned it.
We all know how much quarterbacks get paid.
The Jets have a 3rd and goal from the half-yard line.
So this would be.
They run the same play. Oh, they don't run the same play. Oh, play action pass. That's no doubt about that one. Touchdown! Jets, Jets.
So there you go. So the Jets have the lead. 16-13, extra point pending.
There we go.
Just over 4.5 minutes to go in that ball game.
All right.
Blake says, is it just me or does it seem like a majority? Oh, I already read that. As bad as he's been recently, we are a 3-4 team. I think we're a 3 or 4 win team without either player, if I'm being honest with you this year. Saquon Barkley
won many games without Daniel Jones either, especially since he brought us back to 5 game-winning touchdown drives this year.
People could have their opinions. I think we're a significantly worse team with Tyrod Taylor.
I got to be honest too, Blake. I don't know where you're looking, but everywhere I look, I would say it's the opposite. I don't see anybody that's high on Daniel Jones. Everywhere I look, people are like, he sucks. I'll get rid of him. He's terrible. And like I said, man, there's been nobody more critical of Daniel Jones than I when I believe that it's warranted. But my God, I don't just blindly hate him. I think he's improved a lot this year with nothing there. And I feel like he's got a good coaching staff. And I feel like he's grown. Now, does he have ways to go? Yes. And in year 4, is that shitty for a guy drafted 6th overall? Probably. Okay, he probably should be farther along than he is, but the owner has said, we did nothing to help. He's been through how many offensive coordinators, how many head coaches, how many different systems, how many different offensive linemen, how many different wide receivers. Played a lot of his career without Saquon Barkley because Saquon's been hurt. I don't listen. I would like to bring him back, not have to worry about the quarterback spot. I'm not looking to give him 6 years, not looking to give him franchise money. 3 years, get out after 2 if he's bad. I feel like that's fine.
Listen, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I certainly understand where fans are coming from. And if Joe Schoen wants to draft a quarterback this year, there's no way I could see him push it forward with Tyrod Taylor because he makes $7 million. There's no way. That essentially is tanking away the season. And the fans are smart enough to realize that. And Joe Schoen's not going to do that. Coming off an 8 or 9 win season in which you're starting to establish a winning culture, I cannot see him going into next year with Tyrod Taylor being his number 1 option without competition. I know I've seen fans suggest that. I don't see that. For me, it's either you push forward with Jones, maybe you bring in a free agent quarterback to replace him if you feel his contract demands are too high, or you draft a quarterback. Those are the options I see for the New York Giants. There is no chance in hell he's bringing Tyrod Taylor in to be the unquestioned starter day 1 in 2023. It's not happening. He's a clear backup at this point, an unquestionable backup. That I don't see. I see fans suggesting that. I don't see that.
Well, we're going to find out what Joe Schoen and company want to do going next year. We have a few more games. Let's enjoy them. Let's win tonight, get into the postseason. And when our season's over, when we've played our last game, whether that is at the end, against the Eagles, whether that's against the 49ers in the postseason, the Vikings, or whether it's winning a damn Super Bowl, which I'm not saying we're going to do, but then we'll worry about that at that point. Then we're going to know for sure. I think the suspense is killing people because obviously there's people on both sides of the fence. Some people that are absolutely dead set in the fact that Daniel Jones isn't coming back. And then there's people dead set in the fact that he is coming back.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, I would have said there's no way in hell. Then when they got out to the 7-2 lead, then I'm like, there's no way in hell he's not. And now I've kind of hit a bit of a snag. And now I'm like, well, now I really don't know.
Yeah. We'll see.
This game, like you said, Chris, this game goes this goes a long way towards the direction of what this team does over the next years, not just next year, over years.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Bad Dog, is I see a lot of people like that say, when we say we want to bring back Daniel Jones, I see a lot of people be like, you're being too short-sighted. For me, I look at it more like, and I just want to explain it to people that may not understand where I'm coming from. I look at it like I'm thinking long-term, not short-term when I talk about bringing back Daniel Jones on a short-term commitment. For me, it's about building the overall roster for the guy that may eventually replace him. And I've said this several times, your best chance to win a Super Bowl in today's modern-day NFL is the 4-year window where your quarterback's on the rookie salary. You get 4 years, and then you got to pay that guy and absorb it in an amount of money if the guy is successful. Why would I shorten that window? If I go up and trade up for a quarterback and insert him into this lineup, I'm not getting that 4-year window. I'm at best getting a 2-year window because right now we don't even have a number 3 wide receiver on this team, and we don't have starting NFL interior linemen, caliber NFL linemen on this team right now. That's the way I look at it. So I want to explain my perspective. Just because you bring back Daniel Jones on a short-term commitment, a contract in which you could get out of after a year or two, doesn't mean I'm suggesting that I want this guy to be the long-term answer. What I'm suggesting is I want to continue to build up this roster so when we go and get that guy who may replace Jones in a couple of years, that guy has a true opportunity to succeed, and this football team has a true 4-year window to take advantage of that rookie quarterback salary. That's my mindset on the Daniel Jones situation. By no means am I saying I want to give this guy a franchise quarterback type contract. I want to continue building up the overall roster. I know fans get sick of that, and I know they want their hope, and I know they want their gunslinger, and they want Anthony Richardson. That seems to be the popular guy.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
I guess it just pops up on Twitter, and people that don't watch college football just say, "Oh, I heard this Anthony Richardson guy's good because he can run." If you actually watched him play.
I've said it several times. The Kansas City Chiefs did exactly what we're suggesting the Giants do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always work out, but the Kansas City Chiefs brought Alex Smith into the football team. They continued to win. They continued to build up that roster. And once they felt like they had a Super Bowl caliber roster, they went up and got their quarterback. The San Francisco 49ers did the same thing with Trey Lance. The Philadelphia Eagles did the same thing with Carson Wentz. This is not something that is unprecedented. Teams have done this in the past. The Titans, in my opinion, are doing it currently with Ryan Tannehill. They're going to continue to build up that team. When they feel like they have the opportunity to trade up and get a quarterback, they're probably going to do it. But there's multiple ways to try to build a football team. That's just the way I look at it.
Yeah. Listen, the Giants, quarterbacks a lot of times succeed in the situation they're brought into. And a lot of quarterbacks early on really struggle because they go to the worst teams in the NFL. And you're not a worst team in the NFL because you have talent at all positions. You usually end up going to teams that are pretty bad. And a lot of times it's very difficult for a quarterback. Pat Mahomes did not go to a team that was very bad. The Chiefs are drafting 27th.
They're the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Right. They were the 20. They drafted 27th overall. They traded up to 10th to get him. The Bills, they were in a good situation where they traded up to get Josh Allen, or when they picked Josh Allen.
I wouldn't say it was a great situation, but it was a better situation than we.
We're a playoff team.
Yeah, they were a better situation than we currently have.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. To me, it's just somebody said if Anthony Richardson played at Wyoming, he'd be the 3rd pick. No, he wouldn't. What does Wyoming have to do? What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? He plays at Florida. I mean, Florida's a division.
Florida's much bigger than Wyoming.
Yeah.
Much bigger than Wyoming. And Blake, man, thank you very much, man. Is this the biggest game of DJ's career? Yes. And maybe next week will be the next biggest. But right now, undoubtedly, is the biggest game of his career. It's prime time. It's his first Sunday night game. It's essentially a playoff game, divisional rival. He's a free agent next year. You can't get much bigger than this game for a quarterback. So, yeah, it's a gigantic game. You can make an argument that this tonight is probably an even bigger game than if Daniel Jones made the playoffs. Because if he makes the playoffs, he's probably coming back with the team. His future could very well rely on his performance tonight for the New York Giants. So, yes, this is undoubtedly his biggest game of his career.
Without a doubt. This is the equivalent of a playoff game. Now, listen, the next biggest game he probably played was the last game against Dallas in 2020 because
I would say Washington the first time around, actually. This year.
The past one? Yeah. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's not like he played bad.
No, I'm just saying that was a big game for him. That was
it was. And the one against Dallas in 2020, I mean, we had to win. That was a must win.
Yeah.
And, we did. And again, Dallas didn't have Dak Prescott. It's not like that was this by far. It's not close. By far, this is the biggest game he's ever played. And so we're going to see how he responds. Listen, you'll see his resolve. This is a really good litmus test to see where Daniel Jones is if they do make the playoffs, because this is like a playoff game. I know there's games to play. I know there's a small bit of a cushion. If we win, we're in great shape. If we lose, we're on life support. If he can elevate and have one of his better games in a huge game in prime time that got flexed, we're pretty much looking at one of the last spots in the NFC for the playoff spot. If he elevates his game and plays really well, then he has the resolve to do it. He steps up in big games. This tests a lot. You could say whatever you wanted about Eli Manning. Okay, he was definitely inconsistent his first 4 years in the NFL, and even at the end of his career, he was because they had no team around him at the end of his career. But you never doubted when the chips were down, no matter how bad Eli had played that entire game. You always felt like we were going to win if we had a chance to.
Yeah.
And he showed his resolve when he stepped up huge after he got embarrassed his first playoff game against Carolina. 2007, he was the man. 2011, he was the man. So quarterbacks either have that or they don't. That's not something you can teach them. You don't teach them big game resolve. They either have that built in there or they don't.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. This is
Eli had
his first really big test. This is what a postseason game feels like.
This is a huge game. Huge game. No doubt about it. Peter says the hate for Jones is because of the hate for Gettleman. People wanted Allen Pitt. I think that's part of it. I don't think it's all hate for Jones. I think some people just don't want to pay the guy. And for me, I'm going to allow Shane to do what he wants. I'm going to have my opinion on the matter. And I've said my opinion on the matter, but I'm not going to flip out if they like Anthony Richardson or if they like Will Levis and they want to trade up and get that guy. I'm going to hold that quarterback to a very high standard, as I've said several times, because of all the other holes on this roster. And if you're willing to do that with all the needs that this team has, you must feel that guy could be a top 4 or 5 quarterback in the league. And if he reaches that, it's a great decision.
The Lions just scored a touchdown.
They scored?
Yep.
How bad? What was it, 60 yards?
It was 50.
Oh.
Play action pass, and it went back the other way. Nobody was on that side. Whoever the hell B. Wright is, the tight end, backup tight end for the Lions, just scored from 50 yards out.
Oh, the Jets will. How much? There's still time. They're down 3.
Yeah, minute 49. Jets have all 3 timeouts.
So they have time. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Big extra point for the Lions. Let me know if they make it.
The Jets will jet.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Pete's, I just read that. But, yeah, I think that's part of it. I think there's more to it than just that, though. Abe, man, thank you very much. Oh, my God, I just saw it. It was literally like a 50-yard yak.
50-yarder, yeah.
Oh. Abe, man, thank you very much, man. Would you rather franchise DJ or Saquon? I personally don't want to see either one play out on the franchise tag. I think they're going to franchise tag Saquon. I've said that because I think it's going to be hard for them to come to an agreement in terms of his contract. So I think it's much more plausible that they franchise tag Saquon as opposed to Jones. The reason I'd probably say Jones is because I think it's much more likely they'd be able to work out a contract before the start of the year with Jones as opposed to Barkley. If they were to franchise tag Daniel Jones, I don't see him playing out on that franchise tag. I think the Giants and him would come to an agreement on like a 2 or 3 year contract where they could kind of maneuver some of the money around and make it, more feasible for the salary cap for 2022. With Saquon Barkley, and I'm not faulting Saquon Barkley for this. It makes complete sense for Saquon Barkley to have a strong stance. He's a running back, right? We've talked about this, Baddog, where quarterbacks have a 20-year window. I mean, these guys play till 40 nowadays. Yep. Where a running back, your career typically hits you hit a speed bump by the time you hit 29, 30 years old. So this is Barkley's real opportunity to hit a big contract. So that's why I think it's going to be much more difficult for the Giants to come to, a multi-year agreement with Barkley. I think if they want Jones back, they'll have him back. But I'd probably prefer Jones just because I think it'd be easier to come to an agreement. But I think we're going to use the tag on Barkley. I really do. And then they'll try to figure it out from there.
Well, look at it as this. I'd probably rather tag Barkley because it's so much less money.
Yeah.
You can't move.
Oh, yeah, no. In terms of them playing out on the tag, Barkley 100%.
But the thing is, yeah, I think the Giants can get something done with Jones if they want to. I think that's a possibility. Barkley's contract will be much more difficult to work with. And listen, if they don't want to bring Barkley back or Barkley don't want to play and they can't come to an agreement, if they've tagged him, he's there for a year. The Giants can trade him and get something for him if they choose to do that. And that's why I would prefer Barkley, because if they can't come to an agreement, you tag Barkley, he doesn't want to play and he's not going to play, or they can't come to something. You can trade Barkley.
By the way, that's even more of a reason why I don't think they're going to let Barkley just walk. Because if you tag Barkley, you could either tag and trade him before the season starts if he's not willing to play out on the tag.
Yep.
Or if when push comes to shove, he plays on the tag, you can trade him from within season. And he'd have some value for another team throughout the league if he's playing like he was throughout the first half of this year. So I don't think they're letting Barkley just walk like several people have suggested. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to tag him, and then we'll see how the rest of the offseason plays out. But that's where I think this is headed.
That was a terrible throw by Zach Wilson. And I put something on Twitter about, all these people that say, draft a quarterback over Daniel Jones like it's a slam dunk. I said, ask the Jets. The funny thing is, as soon as I put that on there, he threw a 40-yard touchdown. Someone's like, look at this, threw a 40-yard like that matters. I mean, how many quarterbacks throw 40-yard touch? Taysom Hill threw a 40-yard touchdown today.
You know what the funny thing is?
Zach Wilson isn't it. The Jets are already looking to move on from him.
You know what
Sam Darnold, they moved on from. Mark Sanchez. There's 3 top 5 picks.
Yeah. None of them were. And you know the biggest reason why.
There you go. I just got to talk shit about Zach Wilson. He gets it done. You suck.
What, he hit a big play?
Yeah, they got a first down after he got sacked.
Yeah, listen, I think the major reason why the Jets quarterbacks haven't worked out more so than anything else, it's not like these guys weren't talented. Every team in the league thought Sam Darnold was really talented. I know you didn't like him, but every team in the league thought he was talented. Most people thought Zach Wilson was very talented. Most people thought Mark Sanchez was very talented. It's not a coincidence that all three of them, outside of Sanchez, I actually thought Sanchez was set up pretty nicely. We're not set up with the best, the best situation, specifically Darnold. Like, Darnold was set up to fail from the start. But listen, we'll see how it worked. Wow, it was 3rd and 19. He picked it up.
Yeah.
The thing with Zach Wilson, for me, he shows glimpses. Like, he definitely has talent.
Daniel Jones has that too.
Yeah. But he has talent, but he just doesn't put it all together.
My point is that that's 3 top 5 quarterbacks
didn't work
that
out.
the Jets have drafted that have done nothing there. So it's not that easy to just go, oh, just draft the quarterback because Daniel Jones sucks and just get Anthony Richardson because he's going to be a lot better. That was a nice catch. I think that was Garrett Wilson. He's, I think, a little bit short. But you can't – my point is, listen, the Giants may draft Anthony Richardson and he may be an absolute beast. Or they may draft Will Levis and he may be an absolute beast. But my point is you can't just be like, oh –
well, this is the question I think you have to ask yourself if you're a Giant fan in terms of what
going for it all. Where is that going?
Incomplete.
What's it close? Yeah.
This is the question I think you have to ask yourself if you're Joe Schoen and if you're a Giant fan trying to evaluate what you would do. What's more likely? And it comes down to how you evaluate the quarterbacks in this year's draft class. What's more likely of you having long-term success in 5 or 6 years? You keeping Jones on a short-term commitment, or you trading up, giving up draft capital for a guy like Anthony Richardson, or even standing pat and taking a guy like Anthony Richardson, because that's a much longer commitment than giving Jones a contract that you could get out of after 1 year. So that's what you have to ask yourself. If you feel that Anthony Richardson is the second coming of Josh Allen, of course you do it. But that's a huge question.
I wish people would stop comparing quarterbacks to Josh Allen.
Well, that's
like Josh Allen. Oh, Zach Wilson just took a sack with 20 seconds to go.
Do they have any timeouts?
How did the Jets have all 3 of their timeouts? How do you not use a timeout at some point?
That's it. Well, they were on defense and they didn't think Detroit was going to score a 50.
But the Jets have had the ball
the
whole time. With the minute 49 to go, now there's 20 seconds. You move the ball freaking 20 yards in a minute and 30 seconds. Why aren't you taking a timeout at some point?
How big was the sack?
They just lost like 8 yards, 3rd and 18.
They're going to lose. If he picks this up, that's a hell of a job by him because he had a 3rd and 19 before. Well, I will wait to the end of the game and then we'll get back to the chat because it's obviously a big game for the Giants.
Yeah,
I'm going to let you say it for me.
It's just insane, man. The Jags, they're going to lose. New Orleans beat Atlanta.
It's a TV.
19 seconds to go. Houston and Kansas City are in overtime.
Is it a TV timeout for the Jet game?
Nope, they're going right now.
Okay, let me know what happens. 3rd and 18.
Yeah, I got you. Wilson out of the shotgun from his own 40, empty backfield. Jets at 4 wide. Wilson drops back to pass, steps up, throws, incomplete. Had a man open and totally missed him.
So about 15 seconds?
A good throw. Yep, 14. It's not a good throw.
And Jason, he says, fans got to realize DJ is going to have a market for agency. I can name 4 teams, or imagine DJ on the he's not going to the Niners. I think they're going to stick with Trey Lance. But I agree he's going to have a market. There will be teams that it may not be a ton because teams are going to have the draft as an option. But there will definitely be a few teams that would be interested. Yeah,
absolutely.
There would definitely be a few teams that'd be interested.
All right. Well, this is it for the Jets. They either convert this and they live, or they don't convert this. And here we go. He drops back to pass. He's in trouble. He rolls right. Got to get rid of the ball. Throw it, dude. Heaves it up in the middle of the field. Oh, he got a guy. There's 4 seconds to go. Get down. Timeout.
Where do they have it?
The clock ran out. Now, I don't know if they called the timeout. I don't know what the hell that receiver was doing, man. He's trying to run out of bounds. You got 2 freaking seconds. You got 2 timeouts. You got to go down to the ground.
What did they get it to? Is there time?
40, it'd be a 57-yarder from here. Now, they may put a second back on the clock. They did.
Yeah, it says 1 second on ESPN.
They did. Why the hell are you running,
dude?
though?
If he makes this field goal,
he should go down right there. Instead, he runs backwards and he tries to get out of bounds.
If they make this field goal,
he should have ran straight ahead. The dude ran backwards 4 yards.
What a drive by Zach Wilson if they get this, because
the Jags went to OT. How the hell did that happen? They had it at the 49, and the dude hit a 66-yard field goal.
How is their kicker? How's the Jets kicker? Let me look.
We're going to find out. Lions will ice them.
I'm going to see right now.
How far was the Jags field goal? I saw they had it at the 49. Wow. How far was that Jacksonville Jaguars field goal?
Oh, they got Zerline. Zerline's got a leg.
58-yard attempt.
He's got a leg. Zerline this year is 24 of 28. He's 6 of 8.
That spot kick. No good. He missed it wide left by a mile. Not even close. Oh, 48-yarder. Okay, the Jags got there. So the Jets lose. Make it easier on the Giants.
It's not. At the end of the day, we were going to have to beat Washington either way.
I know, but
this would have made it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But beat Washington, take care of business. I think Seattle's going to lose next week to the Chiefs anyway. But obviously, it would have given us a little bit more of a chance had we lost tonight. But I don't want to lose tonight. We got to win tonight, Baddog.
No, I know. I know.
Let's get this win.
I agree. No, I freaking agree.
I'm just messing with you. But that's a tough one for the Jets. Zach Wilson, though, a couple of big plays there down the stretch. He had a 4th and 18.
Yeah, that was a desperation heave there.
And a 3rd and 17 on that drive.
That was a bad kick, Lake Norna. That was a bad kick. It was never had a chance.
Zach says, Chris, you couldn't have explained it any clearer. Yeah, listen, I just want, and I'm going to explain it very clear in individual videos in the offseason, because obviously that's going to be a hot topic, but I want people to see my perspective. I'm not saying let's bring back Jones because I think he's the second coming of Joe Montana. No, my perspective, my thought process is let's bring back Jones because I don't think we're in a situation to maximize the talents of a rookie quarterback, and I don't want the Giants to do the same thing to insert name here that they did to Daniel Jones. It's why I was so against drafting Daniel Jones in the first place, because I knew the team was set up to fail the quarterback. Yep. And unless you're enamored with a quarterback, which I didn't think the Giants should have been in that draft, and I don't think personally, I don't think the Giants should be in this draft based off of where we're picking. I'm not for taking that quarterback until such time that you have a much better situation established.
Yeah. I mean, listen, no matter what happens, you want to build the offensive line. So listen, you have to keep Daniel Jones. You have to build this offensive lineup. It has to be done. They failed Eli Manning at the end of his career. Dave Gettleman said he lied. That we're going to build up the offensive line. He never did that. His first pick, he took Saquon Barkley. Now, Quentin Nelson, obviously, hindsight being 2020, would have been the guy. And you're thinking if he would have drafted a guard with a 2nd overall pick, oh, this guy's an idiot. But he said he's going to fix the offensive line. He didn't. He didn't really address it. I think he took Will Hernandez second in the second round that year. And he ended up being a total failure. And then we draft Daniel Jones. And then we draft Dexter Lawrence. And Dexter Lawrence has been awesome. And then we draft DeAndre Baker. 3 first-round picks in 2019. Not one of them went to the offensive line. I don't think they took an offensive lineman in that draft until the 7th round. That kid out of Kentucky, George, whatever his name was.
A sophomore guy, yeah.
And then 2020, that's when he takes a swing. We get Andrew Thomas. The man's a stud. Yeah. They go out and they get Matt Parrott, garbage. Yeah. Then they get Shane Lemieux, garbage, right? And then in 2021, he doesn't address it at all. He didn't take one lineman in that entire draft.
Yep.
I mean, think about it. We didn't take a first-round lineman this year. Oh, yes, we did. What am I talking about? We took Evan Neal. We took 3 linemen this year in the draft. So, I mean, listen. We got to build this offensive line. The offensive line needs to be solid.
And it may be some of the guys currently on this roster. Those guys may grow. A guy like Azudu, for example, he may grow next year.
I thought Azudu started to play better before the neck injury.
Yeah, so maybe he develops into one of those guys. But we need more talent on that interior, and we need to continue to address it. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Abe, man, thank you very much, man. I'd sign DJ for 3 years, $90 million. Franchise tag Saquon, you're looking at $43 million next year. The thing with that, Abe, is as far as the $43 million go, there's no way, Dan, even if you sign Jones to that contract, which I don't think it's going to cost that much. I think he's good. If we give him a 3-year deal, I think it's going to cost more than some fans realize.
Yeah, probably about $80 million is my guess.
If you look at the quarterback market, Baddog, I think people got to realize what the quarterback market is. 15 quarterbacks right now in the NFL make $25 million a year or more. 15, and the market only increases, and that's not accounting for Geno Smith, who's probably going to get paid that in the offseason. He's a free agent, and that's not accounting for Jimmy Garoppolo, who's probably going to get paid that as well. So that's 17 quarterbacks make $25 million a year or more, And of the 14, excluding Daniel Jones, probably 10 or 11 of them are on rookie salaries.
You never know. Baker Mayfield might make $25 million somewhere.
Basically, that's the going rate. The only starting quarterbacks in today's NFL that don't get $25 million are guys like Marcus Mariota, who were brought in there just to mentor a young rookie quarterback.
Right.
That's why
Gino didn't get it either.
Yeah, until now he will after this year. But those are the only guys that are brought in to mentor young rookies, kind of like what Tyrod Taylor was with the Browns.
The Eagles just won, so they could clinch a division today, right? If Dallas loses or no?
Yeah. Now the negative to the Eagles, obviously it's a positive from the standpoint of the likelihood of them resting their starters week 18. I know a lot of Giants fans think about that, but it's also a negative from the standpoint that we may need the Dallas Cowboys to beat Washington. And if Dallas has nothing to play for, they may rest their starters, right? If they're locked into the fifth wild card spot. So We'll see. We can't leave that last week up for where we need something to help.
No, we have to take it. Listen. At the end of the day, we got to take care of our own. It's nice to have these cushions. It's nice to say, listen, in case this happens, we have to win. That's all we got to do. We got to take care of our own damn business. We do that, we're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's it. But our destiny's in our own hands.
But going back to Abe's comment about the quarterback, I think it's going to be around 75 mil if they go that route. I think it's going to be 3 or 7.
What the hell was that?
What happened? What game you watching?
Texans just fumbled the ball. I don't know what the hell they were doing. I don't know what the hell that quarterback was doing.
They stink.
I just knocked it out from underneath.
But going back to his comment regarding Jones, yeah, I mean, I've said all along, I think it's going to be about 3 or 75. But that doesn't mean what you said in your example, where it's going to be 43 mil against the cap. It's not going to be 43 mil against the cap, even if it was $30 million per year on average. That's not the way the contract's going to work. The Giants are going to structure the contract where they give him bonus money, roster bonuses, guaranteed money up front. They may even give a void year where they could kind of give $4 or $5 million towards the 2025 cap. He could be getting paid on average $26 million a year, but it may only go $16 million against the cap. Right. There's ways to structure these contracts to maneuver it around to give yourself some more flexibility, which is the whole benefit of signing him to a multi-year contract as opposed to a one-year deal. When you sign him to a one-year deal, you can't do that. Right. And you could still get out after a year or two if things go sideways with, say an $8 million hit. We'll just say as an example, like there's ways to maneuver these contracts. So just because the lettering of the contract may read 3 years, $75 million, it doesn't mean it's going to be 25 mil against the cap in 2023. It may be 15 against the cap. Like there's ways to maneuver the money and structure the contract in a certain way. And thankfully we have a GM that I think is going to do a good job doing things like that we didn't have in the past.
I think it was Pacheco or McKinnon just ran for a touchdown. So,
and Mike, man, thank you very much, man. DJ has grown in 2022 while the O-line and wide receivers have not. He's definitely grown. The question that the Giants are going to have to ask themselves is, has he grown enough? But he's definitely grown. There's no denying it. He's definitely grown. He's gotten better in terms of pocket awareness. He's not turning over the football. We need to see him make some plays today, but he's played well this year. Baddog, if I would have told you at the beginning of the year that Daniel Jones was going to have 5 game-winning drives, he was going to have 17 combined touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He's got 5 rushing. He's got 12 throwing. And I think he's got, 2 lost fumbles? So 6 combined turnovers and 17 combined touchdowns. And we were
one of those lost fumbles was when he was trying to throw a Hail Mary.
The other one when he was blindsided from the interior.
Yep.
So if I would have told you that at the beginning of the year, Baddog, like,
they fumbled against Washington too, so that was another one he lost.
Okay, but either way,
but the turnovers are way down.
If I would have told you, you'd sign up for that. That is significant growth for the quarterback, especially when you factor in the lack of. Because going into the year, you would have figured Kadarius Toney's going to grow. You would have figured Kenny Golladay could bounce back. None of that happened.
So and Shepard was going to be healthy all year.
Yeah. So if I would have told you that at the beginning of the year with all those variables, you would say, yeah, Daniel Jones got a lot better. He's definitely gotten better. Nobody could deny that after this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you wanted to see from him. But, I mean, listen, the one thing I'll say, again, I don't know, because I watch the game on TV, and I don't go back, and I don't try to study. I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy on YouTube that's going to sit there and look at film and act like I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. That's not my content. I don't act like, and I don't have time to look at film anyway. I'm just a fan. That's it. I don't see this. And people tell me this when they watch film or they're at the game, because at the game you can see everything.
Right.
They say that he doesn't look down the field, that he just checks down. He's not going through progressions. He just takes the check down right away. Now, if that's the case, that's something he needs to do better. That's something they need to do better if that's what's going on. I can't see if guys are open down the field. All I can see is where the ball goes because when and you're watching the game, camera zooms in on the quarterback. You see the offensive line, and then when he throws it, they follow where the ball goes. But that's it. So if Kenny Golladay is running wide open down the sideline and he checks it down to Daniel Bellinger, I can't see that. I just see where the ball goes. Yep. So if that's the case, when people are like, he's missing throws, he's missing this guy, he don't even look in this direction, he's got to do better at that. There's no question he's got to do better than that. But he has his pocket awareness is much better. And I felt like there's a lot of times this year where he's felt the rush behind him. He stepped up and avoided it, where a year ago he would have got blindsided and lost the football. So again, does he have some growing to do? Yeah. Should you, if he 6th overall pick, you're sitting there thinking, should the 6th overall pick still need to be growing after year 4? No, but same time, man, this roster's not good, and he's been through a lot, and I'm not trying to make excuses for the guy, but
it's just reality. People call it excuses. It's just reality.
I don't understand. That's an excuse. What's an excuse? What excuse am I making? I'm telling you what's going on here.
You're stating the situation that he's been
Cowboys
presented
just
with.
turn it over. Cowboys just
It's the same. It's the same thing that Alex Smith.
Jaguars.
Cowboys lost.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just funny.
That loss doesn't, in terms of the standings, it's not going to hurt them. They're still
getting. It doesn't. It's just funny anytime Dallas loses. I'm sorry.
But yeah, you're just stating the obvious. It's the same exact trajectory that Alex Smith had. Same exact.
Yeah.
Alex Smith's first 6 years in the league, everybody thought he was done. And then he got stability. He had 6 offensive coordinators in his first 6 years.
Well, Eli had stability, but his first 4 years weren't great.
Yeah.
Oh, Dak fired a pick.
That stinks. Blake, man, thank you very much, man. Carolina might make a play for DJ, defensive-minded coach trying to minimize turnovers, and he's from North Carolina. We don't even know who their coach is going to be next year. Carolina, right? They hired an interim coach mid-season, so we don't even know who their head coach is going to be.
Rule.
And we don't know how they're going to feel about the quarterback class and everything else. I would lean more towards a team like Tampa Bay or someone like that. I'm not saying Tampa Bay specifically. I don't know any of these teams' cap situation. But I would lean more towards a team that's picking later in the draft. Because if you're picking where Carolina's probably going to be picking, and I think, did they win again today, Carolina? No, right? They lost, right? It looked
they
like
lost.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh beat them.
If they're going to be picking top 5, top 6, top 7, I would lean they're probably drafting a quarterback. It just makes more sense. You get to start over. You get, week 1, year 1 rather on the rookie quarterback salary. If they like a quarterback in the draft, they're probably going to take them. I would lean more towards a team like the Colts. Well, the Colts even are going to be picking relatively high, but
you don't know who their coach is either.
Yeah, same thing. So maybe a team like the Bucs, maybe a team like Washington,
maybe a team like the Patriots.
Mac Jones isn't very good. So,
but do you think Daniel Jones is going to go? Oh yeah, I want to go back to Joe Judge. Daniel Jones is going to hell no.
Yeah,
I ain't going over there.
Yeah,
no way.
And Brent, man, thanks. If you give Jones $25 million and put aside $12 million for rookies, that's $37 million. Again, I want to say the $25 million is not going to go into the cap. It would be more like probably 16,
These guys
17.
know what you're doing as far as maneuvering the cap.
Yeah, but I'll keep reading it. Put aside $12 million for rookies. I think they're going to get the rookie money by cutting. And you probably you went out to say that with Kenny Golladay. I think they're going to get the rookie money by cutting Kenny Golladay after June 1st because that gives them another $7 million or so towards next year's cap. And of course, it hurts the following year's cap for $7 million. But I think that's the way that they're going to go about doing it. If you cut Kenny Golladay, the New York Giants could have around $69 million. Subtract the $37 million, and you have around $32 million to re-sign Barkley and improve. Not enough.
No, that's not the way Kenny Galladay's contract works. The Giants don't save all of his money; they get the dead cap. So if they would save $7 million.
Yeah. So Brent, the way that Galladay's contract is going to work, I'll pull up the salary for you right now.
I think his dead cap is what, like 15 something.
Yeah.
Right. We owe him like 22, but if you split that over the course of the 2 years, actually you'd save 15 million that way, but then you'd get hit with a dead cap the year after as well.
But I just want to also show an example of how these quarterbacks' contracts are structured also. For everybody that's, I'm just trying to tell you what I think the Giants will do if they bring back Daniel Jones. Derek Carr, for example, right? I frequently use this contract because I've said several times that if they bring him back, this is the type of contract that I could see the New York Giants bringing Daniel Jones back with. So this is the contract that the Raiders gave Derek Carr. And it all comes down to guaranteed money. It's not about the per year average.
Right.
You see the per year average, 3 years, $121.5 million. You say, oh my God, Derek Carr is getting $41 million a year. Oh my God, are they crazy? It's about the cap hit. It's about the way that they structure the money, right? So he was only $19 million against the cap this year. The following year, because only 25 of it was guaranteed, it only cost them $5 million to move on from Derek Carr. $34 million if they want to keep him, but it's only $5 million if they want to move on from Derek Carr.
So that's what they're doing. And that's going to save them $27 million because of the way that's constructed.
It's going to save them $30 million. 35 to keep, 5 to cut.
Right.
It's going to save them basically almost $30 million next year if they cut him. So people see the per year average and they go crazy. There's ways to structure these contracts that you can get out. And they're not going to give Daniel Jones. They're going to give Daniel Jones, I think, a very similar type of extension if they bring him back.
Right. Exactly. And that's what you do.
Yeah.
And then if Daniel Jones is bad in 2020, you look at the way it's structured in 2024 for Derek Carr, it's not that you save $40 million or whatever it is. So yeah, that's the way they're going to do it. Again, remember, Brandon Brown came from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Howie Roseman's great with the cap. Joe Schoen came from Buffalo. Bean is great with the cap. They're gonna know what they're doing. I have faith in these guys. Dave Gettleman didn't know how the hell to work the cap, or Kevin Abrams, or whoever the hell was running the cap. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. I have faith in these guys. But yes, if you structure Daniel Jones's contract the way they did Derek Carr's, 1 year and that's it. If he stinks, then you move on. If he gets hurt, the Giants are terrible next year, and you're drafting 5th overall and say, hey, we want to, we're going to move up and get Caleb Williams, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
But there's no reason to not bring Daniel Jones back on a contract like that. Build a team around him and say, let's see you improve. Let's see you get better with these guys around you and use the money, somewhere else. So
as far as the cap for next year, so if you look at Golladay, what he was referring to, it's 21.4 to keep him. It's 14.7 to cut him. So you only save. So basically what you do is you take the cap hit and you subtract the dead cap hit. So it comes up to $6.7 million in savings if you were to cut him. But the way it works is if you do it after June 1st, everybody,
the dead cap in half.
You cut it in half.
Next year, half of it 2024.
Yeah. Now that 14.7 doesn't go away. It's just that 7.35 goes towards this year and 7.35 goes towards the following year.
Yep.
So that's probably what they're going to elect to do, to pay the draft class, if I had to guess. But outside of that, now I'll talk about some other things they could do. But
Leonard Williams will be restructured. He won't play under 30.
Exactly.
Won't be $32 million.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
So he's due $32 million next year because of all the backloading of contracts. But if you give Leonard Williams a 2 or 3 year extension, you could structure it in a way where it alleviates a lot of the pressure next year. Maybe he only goes 17, 18 against the cap.
Yeah.
But again, it's going to come down to if Leonard Williams is willing to do that and so on and so forth. But there's things they could do, like extend Leonard Williams. They could extend Dexter Lawrence, who's due $12 million next year because they extended him on the 5th-year option.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be in the long-term plans for this football team. You could do that. Maybe that gives you an extra couple $1 million in next year's cap. There's things.
Unfortunately, you see we're stuck with Mark Lewinsky. You see we're stuck with him.
Yeah, Mark Lewinsky we're stuck with.
Yeah.
Gano, there's no reason not to keep him. He would save you $3 million, but there's no reason not to keep him.
Shepard's not coming back.
Shepard's not coming back. But yeah, there's not a whole lot outside of extensions and cutting Golladay, but there's things they could do to free up money. And like I said, the per year averages of these contracts, you can't look at that in terms of what it's going to be against the cap next year, because they're going to structure it in a way to give themselves a little bit more maneuverability. That's the whole reason to give these guys 3 or 4 year contracts, because you can move the money around. You give them roster bonuses, things like that. So if they want to bring these guys back, they could do it. And it's not going to kill their cap space for 2024. They can do it, and they can structure it in a similar way to what the Raiders did with Derek Carr, if they want to bring back Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Brent, man, thank you very much, man. If you get, I just read that, but yeah, I think there's a way to do it, but you can't give these guys, 5-6 year contracts, similar to what Dallas did with Dak, and the Giants are not going to do that.
No.
Peter, man, thank you very much, man. We have to extend Dex and Love. Yeah, I hope they do. Dex, definitely. Dex is absolutely part of the long-term plans for the New York Giants. Julian Love is a little more tricky for me, and I love the way he's been playing, but then you got to ask yourself, if you plan to give McKinney a contract extension, how much are you going to tie up into that position? But they seem to love him, right? No pun intended, but they seem to really like Julian Love, and he's a captain of the team. And I think he'd want to come back. He's talked great about the Giants, but I think there will be a threshold for him that Joe Schoen's not going to exceed either. There'll be a market for him, but I don't know. I don't know how big of a market Julian Love would have out there, but it seems like both of them want to come back. Reports were that the Giants and him talked. I hope he's back. I think he's really valuable for this team, but I think there's a limit for him. I don't think that they're going to go above and beyond it. Clockman, thank you very much, man. You weren't around, but Deja Vu, DJ Sims, year 4. Baddog was around.
Well, Sims' year 4 wasn't very good, right? It wasn't year 4, 1982 for him. He was drafted in 79. So, what? That's 79, 80, 81, 82.
Yeah.
Sims didn't really evolve till 1984. Well, then again, I mean, 83. I mean, Parcells benched him for Bruner because Sims couldn't stay healthy his first 4 years in the
It's
league.
funny that somebody brought that up, though, Bad Dog. We were talking about this after we were on Patricia Trainer's channel this past week. I brought this up to you guys because you guys got to see him. But to me,
I didn't see Sims his first 4 years ago. I was too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I saw Sims as he was a good quarterback because I started following the Giants when I was 8 in 1984. Yeah. So I saw Sims and the Giants as they were beginning to get really good. I missed the bad years.
The similarities between them are interesting, though. Not that I'm comparing them. Sims should have, in my opinion, should be in the Hall of Fame. Had he not gotten hurt in 90, he probably is in the Hall of Fame. He's got 2 Super Bowls at that point. Hostetler won the second one. But in terms of like their trajectory, it's similar. Both of them went to like a no-name school. Both were ridiculed picks when they brought him in. Both, due to surrounding.
Sims was 7th overall. Jones was 6th overall.
Jones was 6th. Both due to surrounding circumstances, struggled mightily at the beginning of their careers. Both showed glimpses of having potential.
Both battled injuries.
Yeah. So there's definitely some similarities between the two. Not that I'm saying that I expect
personalities are very different, though.
Yeah.
Sims was a bulldog. Sims didn't care.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is just kind of a guy that will walk away. Sims will get right in your face. Sims is a. I'm not saying Jones isn't a battler, but you didn't mess with Sims. Sims is tough as hell. Sims worked out with the linemen. Like I said, Sims went after Parcells. They went at each other. Sims challenged Ronnie Lott to a fight. Sims didn't give a damn. Sims was a tough son of a bitch. I loved that guy, man.
Would you agree? And again, I'm not saying I'm not expecting it either, but would you agree that it's better to compare him to Sims than Eli in terms of the way that they were brought up as quarterbacks? Because Eli to me inherited.
I don't think it's fair to compare Daniel Jones to Eli because Eli had way more talent. I mean,
yeah.
Eli wasn't mobile, but Eli was
just a better prospect too.
Right, Eli was a better prospect. I feel like Eli was a better. He was better. Eli's a Hall of Famer. Eli was more. He read defenses better. His instincts were better. He couldn't move. If Eli could move, I can't imagine how good Eli was. But Eli couldn't move to save his life. He was running around back there with a pair of cement boots on.
He had no
athleticism whatsoever. Okay,
I tell you what, though, Eli moved when he had to. He moved when he had to, when he sensed the pressure. And I actually saw an interview with Antrell Roll before the year started, and I thought when I actually listened back to it a couple of days ago, because every once in a while I go down the rabbit hole of watching Eli Manning again because he's my favorite player, and I thought Antrell Roll described it perfectly. In terms of Eli Manning as a quarterback, he basically said that he felt like Eli Manning while he was with the team. I think he was with the Giants between like 2010 and 2014 or thereabouts. He said that he always felt like Eli Manning kind of preserved his body for the regular season outside of when he had to go above and beyond. But come playoff time, he put it all on the line. And I feel like there's something to that. But the difference between Eli Manning and Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones has to put on his body on the line every single game during the regular season because the team stinks.
He better put his body on the line tonight.
Oh, for sure. It's a playoff game. But I felt like that was well said by Antrell Roll because I agree with that. You go back and watch the 49er game. He's not doing that week 4 against, the Chicago Bears. Eli Manning.
Oh, hell no. No, that's why people are like, oh, Eli just fall down. I would sit there and go, yeah, do you want to stand in there and let a 350-pound dude take a full run at you and crush you in the chest with his helmet? Yeah. I don't.
You'd be dead.
If I see that coming, I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm just going down.
Yeah.
You live to fight another day. What are you trying to prove there, sitting there getting your freaking sternum pushed through your spine? Yeah, look at me. And good, you don't play for the rest of the year. Hell no. And at that point in his career, Eli's like, listen, I'm just trying to get to retirement.
Yeah.
When these guys come into the NFL and they're 23.
I'm even talking about earlier on in Eli's career too, though. Like in 2010, 2011, 2012, he became he realized the circumstances and he went above and beyond in terms of putting himself on the line in the playoffs. You didn't necessarily see that as much in the regular season because he had a team. Of course,
because the playoffs are, again.
And because you had a team that afforded him to be able to do that. Where with Daniel Jones, he has to play like that every week because the team is so bad.
Yeah, team's bad.
Like that's the only way they're going to win games is if he stands in the pocket and takes 8, 9, 10 hits a game, and tries to let plays develop down the field. So a lot of that's just my opinion on the matter.
Yeah.
Demir, man, thank you very much, man. I'm going to the game tonight. Free tickets. Well, that's awesome. Hopefully get to see my guys win before I move to Hawaii. You're moving to Hawaii? Well, that's awesome. I'm going to miss you. Well, not that I see you, but we're going to miss you in the States. Well, no, Hawaii's part of the States. We're going to miss you in the connected States. But Hawaii, I mean, what better place to go? Have you ever been to Hawaii? I think I've asked you this before.
No, my uncle lives in, one of my uncles lives in Hawaii. I've never been there.
Yeah.
A little jealous, though. I would love to live in Hawaii. I any warm weather climate. San Diego's a place I'd like to live. But I'm not going west. I'm going south. I've already said that. I'll be going to the Myrtle Beach area when I retire. That's where I want to go.
Where's
Myrtle
that? That's Carolina, right?
Charleston. It's South Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah, that's where I want to be. Not so much Florida, but South Carolina is good enough. It's like in low 50s, middle 50s in the winter. There's no snow. I can deal with it. And then the summer, it's not low 90s. It's not like deathly humid. So South Carolina is really where I'm looking to go.
So my aunt lives in South Carolina.
My stepmother lives in South Carolina. I visit her. It's gorgeous down there. So
yeah. Well, I mean, listen, she's the same thing. She's a transplanted New Yorker. She loves it. Yeah. Like you said, she loves the weather, the tax breaks.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. That's why all New Yorkers move south. We're not stupid. We take our New York money, we go down south. The cost of living is a lot less. The taxes are cheaper. You still get your New York pay. That's why everybody goes down there. You get rid of the freaking snow. You get warmer weather. Why the hell wouldn't you go down there if you're a New Yorker?
Well,
that's why we go down there.
And NY Giants 26 says Tony's been great. Oh God, don't even get us started.
I forgot he was playing today. I heard the mention. I said, "Oh shit, he's back." I didn't even know.
Oh yeah,
I don't pay attention to it. I don't really care.
Let me see how Tony did today. I forgot he was playing today.
I don't even give a shit.
Oh, I the same thing. I could care less.
I mean, who cares? He's not a giant. I don't care what the hell he does.
Kadarius Toney today had 1 catch for 5 yards.
Oh, he was joking.
Yeah. But he did well today.
He was joking around. Okay.
How good of a trade does that look right now for Joe Schoen?
Well, let's see who we get.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, you got a 3rd-round pick for a guy that you didn't want to be part of the, the future. Didn't they get multi? It was a comp.
3rd and a 6th. Comp 3rd and a 6th.
3rd and a 6th. Yeah, and that guy's just a walking injury. Blue man, thank you very much, man. Zach Wilson was set up well, good weapons and elite D. Zach Wilson was set up much better than Sam Darnold. Bloom, I agree with that. Sam Darnold was set up to fail. Like Sam Darnold, you can make an argument that Sam Darnold was set up even worse than Daniel Jones, or at least comparable. So he was set up to fail. Zach Wilson's definitely been set up better. I do see some talent with Zach Wilson. I don't think he's elite, but I do see some talent with Zach Wilson.
They all have talent.
Yeah.
I mean, every one of them that gets drafted that early has talent.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be up that high in the draft board, but it's a matter of listen, the jump from the NFL, the college of the NFL is ridiculous. I say it all the time. You can play the best college team in the world, and you might be playing against 5 or 6 guys in the NFL. And you play an NFL team, you're playing against all NFL players. It's just you're playing for the best of every college in the country. So it's just a much more the guys are bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. The speed of the NFL is so much faster than that of college. And the defenses are much more complex. So it takes
and the offenses are much more complex.
Right. It takes a lot more for a rookie quarterback to come into this league and light it up. It's difficult, especially when you first get there. You may have some success because teams don't have film on you.
Right.
But when they do get film on you and they make the adjustment, okay, this is what he's good at. This is where he's weak. We're going to attack his weakness. Then it's up to that quarterback to make the adjustment back the other way. The quarterbacks that concede are the ones that make that adjustment. And then there's some that are just otherworldly talented, like Josh Allen and like Pat Mahomes. Although Josh Allen struggled his first couple of years, and then he finally developed. A guy like Alex Smith, it took him a long time to develop. Geno Smith, I'm saying that Geno Smith is Josh Allen, but you have got Joe Burrow is ridiculously talented. Justin Herbert's ridiculously talented.
And Joe Burrow also has ridiculously talented players
He's
around
got good players, as does Tua.
Yeah.
It helps when you have those guys. Give us Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Oh God,
it also helps Baddog when you like look at Jared Goff, for example. And Jared Goff's not great, but look at Jared Goff, for example. You're talking about a guy now that is year 2 in the same offense. He's now had another year to develop in that offense. Look at the jump he's had from year 1 to year 2. Yeah. Look at the offensive line he's provided with. I'm watching the Jet game today. The Jets are one of the best defenses in football. Jared Goff had all day to throw the ball. He's got weapons all over the field. when you're inserted into a situation where the team can block for you, when you are more accustomed to the scheme year one over year two, you're going to grow as a quarterback. It's just common sense. So that's why I think if they bring back Jones next year, he'll be better. How much better? I don't know. I think this is the best we've seen from Daniel Jones. And if they were to bring him back and add weapons, he's going to be even better next year. The question is always going to be, is he better enough? Is he good enough? But there's so many variables that go into comparing quarterbacks. I think when people just look at box scores and stats, it's the silliest and stupidest thing you could ever do.
And a lot of people do that. I've told you this, man. Especially the younger, they're Madden players. They think that the NFL is Madden football. It's not. It's not a video game. There are other things involved that, look at, he's got a 90 overall Madden rating. That doesn't translate onto the field. It's a video game. It's artificial intelligence, okay? It doesn't take into consideration the way the guys look up to the guy, the respect he has in the locker room, the intangibles that he brings. It doesn't do any of that. It has no human element. It's fake. So who cares about the statistics? I say it all the time, win football games. That's the one statistic that matters.
Listen, where does the guy play? That could assist in statistics. Does the guy play in a dome? Does the guy play in harsh weather conditions?
Right.
Is the guy in a brand new offense? Does the guy have good weapons on the outside? You think Kirk Cousins is putting up these numbers without Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson?
You think Tua you think he's coming in here and having the same numbers that he has in Miami?
Baddog, let's look at it from our own quarterback, the greatest quarterback in the history of the New York Giants franchise. If we're just going to look at box scores, which year was Eli Manning a better quarterback? 2011 or 2015?
2011.
It's not even close. 2011, Eli Manning was one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the league.
Should have won MVP that year.
2015, he was a good quarterback. I don't think he was near elite at that point. He was good, but his stats in 2015 were better. Why? Because he had Odell frickin' Beckham, and he had a more efficient style of offense in terms of check downs and getting the ball out quick. But in terms of just the eye test and watching the guys play, Eli Manning was a elite MVP level quarterback in 2011. It's why you can't just go strictly based off of statistics. It's the stupidest thing you could ever do. Tell me the scheme the guy's playing in. Tell me the weapons he has around him. Tell me the weather conditions. There could be injuries from within the season. Is the guy playing hurt? There's so much more that goes into it in terms of evaluating quarterbacks than just stats.
Yeah, that's the whole point. When do they get their stats is another thing. If you're down 31-10 in the fourth quarter, they give you a couple of garbage touchdowns and you pad your stats, go, look at, he had a really good game today. Well, maybe he didn't have a good game. No, he didn't have a good game. They let him have these garbage yards at the end, and it makes your stats look better. But when you're getting your face beat in for freaking 50 minutes of the game, the last 10 minutes, they start playing prevent defense, just let you complete the ball. Then they run the ball just because they're running out the clock, and then you go down and score garbage again. I mean, come on.
It's not like baseball. Baseball's cut and dry.
Right.
That's why it's so statistical.
Because it's one-on-one. That's mano a mano. That's what that is. Nobody's helping you when you're in the batter's box.
Yeah.
That's football, it. It's you versus him. Fun. Right.
And don't get me wrong, the quarterback's the most important position, has the biggest influence on a football team, but it's also the position that relies on more than any other position on a football team.
Absolutely.
Whether it be the scheme, whether it be the line, whether it be the wide receivers.
Do they take into consideration how many drops the guy had, how many yards after the catch a guy gets? I mean, if you freaking hit a guy like we did, we were just talking about Odell Beckham, and Eli would hit him on a 7-yard slant, but he would lead him, and then Odell Beckham would take it 70 more yards at a house. Well, it's a 7-yard pass, but it goes as a 77-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Stats can be misleading. Stats are very misleading. They tell half the story. I say that all the damn time. If you watch Daniel Jones play last year and you watched him play this year and you're being honest with yourself, there's no way you can sit there and go that he has regressed or that he's on the same level. There's no way you can honestly sit there and honestly assess that guy and look at what he's done this year with less than what he had last year. Okay. And not be in the first year of a system and say, oh, he has not grown as a quarterback.
It's not even close. And again, we're not saying he's incredible, but he's a much better player this year.
Exactly. And in my opinion, he's only going to get better. He's been in the league 4 years. He's 25 years old. He's the same age as Hendon Hooker. I want Hendon Hooker. Let's go get the Tennessee guy that just runs back, throws the ball, runs back to the huddle, looks at the throws the ball, runs back to the huddle, throws the ball. Let's just do that. You think that's working in the NFL? It ain't working in the NFL.
No.
Teams don't do that in the NFL. That's college football. That's a college scheme.
Oh, we saw Chip Kelly try it. How did that work?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work at this level.
Hey, man, thank you very much, man. To me, the top priority should be to extend Thomas before next year because he will command big money in a few years. He's going to command big money now. Yeah. Do it now while we still got leverage. There's no leverage. The only reason, and I want to extend him. Don't get my words twisted. I want to extend him now because he's a long-term piece. He's a guy that is going to be with this team for the next 15 years. If all goes according to plan and he stays healthy, he plays the second most important position. If he's not the best, he's among the best in the league. He's young. He's only going to get better. But we have no leverage. If we sign Andrew Thomas to an extension, he's going to the second he signs it, he's going to be the highest paid left tackle in football, as he should be. Yep. That's the way things work. Mulata was one of the top 5 or 6 highest paid left tackles in football a couple years ago when the Eagles extended him. That's the way extensions work. The reason that you want to extend him now as opposed to 2 years down the line is simple. The market goes up. So if the salary cap this year is $210 and he warrants getting paid 10% of the salary cap, he's 21 now. If the salary cap goes up to 25 in 2 years, now he's going to get paid $25 million a year. So that's the reason why you want to extend him sooner than later if you identify that he's a long-term piece. But we have no leverage. He's the best. If he's among one of the best left tackles in football, and he's going to be paid as the highest one.
Yeah, as well he should be. And that's important. Probably the second most important position on your offense is your blindside protector, which for most quarterbacks, that's your left tackle. If you're a left, like Tua's is a right because he's a left-handed quarterback, but yeah, you got to lock up Andrew Thomas. That is so important because a quarterback wants to have the confidence that I can sit back there and I'm not going to get blindsided, and I can be confident that he's going to protect my backside, and then I can look around the field and not have to worry about getting killed without seeing the guy coming from behind.
Yeah, no, that's we all know that he's going to be here for a very long time. It's just a matter of when they sign the extension. Yeah. NY Giants 26. He says the next great quarterback, in my opinion, is Caleb. I don't know. I don't know. NY Giants 26. Here's what I'll say about the quarterback. It's the most unpredictable position in all of sports. The most unpredictable position in all of sports. I could tell you who I think is the most talented, and that's Caleb Williams. But a lot of it, like Baddog and myself we're talking about, comes down to what situation do these guys get put into. Tua Tagovailoa does not look nearly as good if he's not with the Miami Dolphins this year. Nobody can convince me otherwise. If Tua is with even in an average situation, he doesn't look nearly as good as he does this year. Yep. So a lot of it comes down to the situation that these guys are inserted into. Just based off of talent alone, I've watched a lot of college football this year. Caleb Williams, to me, it's not even close, is the best college quarterback in college football. Yeah. The best. And I'll tell you the second best, in my opinion, at least from what I've seen, I think 3 of his games. He's not in this draft either, and that's May from North Carolina. I think those are the 2 best quarterbacks right now, if I had to pick, right now in terms of pro prospects in the college game. I like Penix too, like Bad Dog. I wouldn't put him near the level of these 2, but I like Penix. I do think he's got some zip to his throws, and I like him. And I like Stroud, but I don't view him as near the same level of prospect as Caleb Williams.
Well, listen, I've been touting Caleb Williams since last year. He's unbelievable. So is he going to be Pat Mahomes? Who knows? But yeah, he definitely has he just has a ridiculous skill set.
Yeah.
He's big. He's strong. He's incredibly athletic, fast as hell, gigantic arm. I mean, that's everything you want in a quarterback. But again, you can have all those intangibles. You have all of that skill level. But if you can't read NFL defenses, or you react a second late, or you don't feel the rush or know how to get away from the rush, you're going to fail. I always look at Colin Kaepernick. That was one of the most physically talented guys I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Again, big, strong as hell, fast as hell, rocket arm.
Yeah.
Greatest first year, but once teams got that book on him and they looked at the film, he started to regress big time because he could not make the adjustment back the other way. He had a hard time reading defenses, and he wasn't the most accurate guy out there either. But he's a guy that had incredible talent, and it worked out for a couple of years, and then he slowly went down. But it depends.
He also lost Harbaugh too, didn't he? So
yeah,
if I recall, towards the end of his career, so that
didn't help him either.
That didn't help, right? I mean, Harbaugh had a lot. You saw the growth that Alex Smith had the first year that Harbaugh was there for that football team. But maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe I'm wrong with the timelines. But regardless, you look at a guy like Michael Vick. Michael Vick is a perfect example, by the way. And Michael Vick to me is one of the. There's probably 5 quarterbacks since I've been watching the game, and not to say that I think he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks since I've been watching the game. But he's one of the 5 quarterbacks that changed the game since I've been watching the game. He's one of them. And his skill set was off the charts. But all you have to do is look at Michael Vick. For people that think that circumstance doesn't matter, Michael Vick was very good with the Falcons. Led him to the playoffs, put the team on his back. The leap that he took when he had 2 years out of the league due to prison, and he goes to the Eagles with Andy Reid. He went from being a very good quarterback to being unquestionably that year the best quarterback in football. Why do you think that was, Bad Dog? 2 years removed from football. I think it had a lot to do with Andy Reid.
It has a lot to do. Same thing with Alex Smith. Look at the jump he took when he went to the Kansas City Chiefs. It makes a big difference. Your coaches make a big difference. And I like the coaches that the Giants have. We just don't have any talent. Kansas City had talent when Mahomes got in there. Mahomes is ultra talented anyway, but he has a great situation. Yeah. Travis Kelce's pretty good. I wish we had a Travis Kelce.
He's really good.
I wish we had that guy on this team.
I love.
We could get a guy like McCole Hardman. I wouldn't be opposed to that, depending on how much he's going to cost.
Depends on the market, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a guy that I'm like, I would take that. Speed kills. I would take a McCole Hardman, not just because he's a decent receiver, but he's a freaking special teams guy. We could use a returner. That's definitely a guy I would look at on the Giants. I don't know what his market's going to come in, but that is definitely one of the few free.
Well, he makes sense because the Chiefs and speed and so on and so forth. He'd fit. You would think he'd fit what Kafka's looking to build here. So naturally, I think a lot of Giants fans, when they look at this year's crop of free agent wide receivers, that's one of the guys they look at.
That's one of the guys I would look at bringing in here.
Juju's another one.
Juju, right? Right. I like McCole Hardman better though. I would go that route because McCole Hardman's not insane. Juju's a little crazy. I just like I said. Plus, he's a kick returner, and I just feel like he would help out big time. He would help out in two spots. So yeah, if depending on his market and draft wide receiver 2, then you got some going forward, because then you're looking at when Wan'Dale gets healthy, you'd have him, McCole Hardman, and a guy you draft. It'd be completely different than what we have now.
Maybe you bring back Hodgins as a 4.
Right.
Yeah. I listen, man, we both love him. I don't think he's going to be there. Quentin Johnson, dude.
Yeah, I freaking love Quentin Johnson.
That guy, he's a perfect compliment to Wan'Dale on the outside. Like, if he ever dropped, I'm praying he runs like a 4.8 40. Like, he just has an off day. Maybe he has diarrhea that day. And
that you can't run when you got that. you got the wrong kind of running when you got that.
He runs a bad 40 time. He drops in the draft, and the Giants are able to snag him at like 20.
Yeah, just some guys have a bad freaking combine, right? Not saying Thibodeau had a bad combine, but he didn't have a combine, and Trayvon Walker had a massive combine. Yeah. And if that doesn't happen, we probably end up with Trayvon Walker and not Kayvon Thibodeau. Or who knows how that actually works out, if that's the case. But it's because Trayvon Walker had a ridiculous, and I don't know how he's doing with Jacksonville, but it's because he had a ridiculous. He should have went first anyway. It should have been Aiden Hutchinson, right? But I know Aiden Hutchinson is having a big year. He didn't go for Trayvon Walker went first because of his combine. And 100%. I think way too much stock is put into the combine. I think way too much is put into that 40. I think your quarterbacks are throwing in perfectly controlled climate, in a controlled climate. There's nobody in their face. There's nobody covering the receiver. It's run the ball and throw the ball.
Zach Wilson went second overall because of his combine.
I just feel like there's too much athleticism, strength. All of it is fantastic. But if you can't play football at the end of the day, no matter how athletic or strong or how big of an arm you have, if you can't play the game of football, you're not going to be good at the game of football.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
I think it should be used as a tool.
How was Tom Brady? Anybody know how Tom Brady's combine went? How'd that guy work out?
Tom Brady looked like me at the age of 22.
He really did.
Trying to go through a combine.
Except for I was way faster than Tom Brady.
Yeah, I think I was probably faster than Tom Brady at that age.
You ran like a 5.26. I'm probably faster than that now.
David, man, thank you very much, man. It's gonna be on Bad Dog's channel. By the way, anybody that's popping in, we got over 700 people in here. Thank you to everybody for being here. If you haven't done so, hit that thumbs up. We're probably gonna go for about another half hour, 40 minutes or so. But thank you to everybody for being here. I hope you guys are jacked up about the game tonight. We're gonna be on Bad Dog Sports tonight. Anybody that may be new to my channel, go over there, check him out. And we're gonna be going crazy. We're gonna be going crazy tonight because it's a playoff game, like we've been saying throughout the stream. So.
Freaking nerves aplenty.
Yeah, dude. I'm amped up though, man. And NY Giants 26 says, you guys like my little hype up? I did. I saw it. Yeah, you did a really. Matter of fact, I'll show it real quick, man, because you put work into those. I'll show it real quick.
I was on Twitter real quick. I don't spend a lot of time. I'm more of an Instagram guy. I like going through Instagram.
Instagram's a lot less stressful.
That's probably why.
Yeah, it's a lot less stressful.
I put some things on Twitter now and again, and then I tweet a couple things, and then
I already said it on Twitter this week, Baddog, and I love going on Twitter. I love conversating with the fans. I love putting my opinions out there, talking about it in a respectful manner. But I already said it this week, Baddog. If and hopefully they don't. I'm not trying to put this out into the universe. If the Giants lose tonight, I'm not going on Twitter for at least a week because I already know it's going to be toxic central. I'd rather just come on here and talk Giants with you guys.
Yeah.
Because it is as toxic as it gets, especially if the Giants were to lose a game like this. Like, it's not even fun. We were talking about it before the stream today, Baddog, and you're absolutely right. This year, and we've said it for years when it comes to talking about the Giants, we always said how much fun it's going to be when the Giants start winning. And we both recognize, and I think most people listening recognize, that we're not where we got to be yet. We still got a lot more growing.
A lot of work to do.
But this has been the funnest, or should have been the funnest season as Giants fans we've had since 2016. And it shouldn't even be really close based off of some of the things we've been able to accomplish this year. Yep. There's instances this year where I have less fun coming on talking about the Giants because of the overall mindset from this fan base.
Yeah. Agreed. It's worn on me this year, which is crazy.
It's ironic.
It's extremely ironic. I'd finish every show just talking about, man, this is so much fun. Just think about what it's going to be like when we're good. And now, are we great? No. But we have a chance to make the damn playoffs, and everybody's acting like it's a damn funeral. And I don't understand. I was the leader of complaining about the team when we won 22 games in 5 years. I get it. I get it when we suck. I get it. The ranting, the raving. This guy sucks. Get rid of this guy. I get it. But my God, we have overachieved huge this year with zero in the first year of a new scheme, first year of a new front office. We've overachieved. We beat the Ravens. The Packers ended up being very good this year, but we beat them when nobody knew they were going to beat the Titans. We beat the Titans.
Yeah.
We won a lot of games we probably shouldn't have won. And yeah, we're not on Dallas's level. We're not on Philadelphia's level. Nobody's saying we are. We want to get there. We hope that this front office can get us there. But it wears on me. Like, I just don't understand. It's like we've won 2 games this year with the way some people act. And it's like, what, I don't understand what the point of being a fan is if you can't enjoy when they're actually winning. I don't know what people want, some of them. So it becomes difficult. It's like, why?
I think a lot of them want to be right.
What's that?
They want to be right. A lot of them. I'm not saying
I saw some asshole in the chat go, well, listen to you, Baddog. You said Jalen Hurts sucked. Like 90% of the Eagle fan base didn't say they suck. I'm talking to my boy Lord Brunson. He knows. Lord Brunson called his own damn fan base out. Yeah, I thought Jalen Hurts would suck, and I've come on here and said I was wrong about that because I'm man enough. But all these bitches in the chat, they go, you said Jalen Hurts. You don't have the balls to come on here and have an opinion. So don't talk to me. Grow a set of nuts, right? It ain't my fault that you're so small. You piss on your nuts. Grow a set of balls. Show your balls, like Lawrence Taylor said, right? And cam up and give us your opinion because I'm sure you're 100% right all of the time. I'm sure everybody that don't cam, I was right about this. I was right about this. Sure you were.
The people that what I have noticed,
you were.
What I have noticed, the people that did say that they thought Jalen Hurts was going to be good outside of the Eagles fan base, which was few and far between, but I'm sure the few individuals that I did notice, they've also said things like they think Baker Mayfield is going to be good, but they will never tell you that take. They'll just tell you the Jalen Hurts take.
Yeah, of course.
And that's the way it works with people that give hot takes, that brag about their hot takes. They will never tell you about when they said, oh, we should have drafted Josh Rosen. I thought that Baker Mayfield was going to be resurgent. Like, that's my biggest pet peeve. At the end of the day, it's all opinion. Sometimes you're going to be right. Sometimes you're going to be wrong. I cannot
stand everything in life.
I cannot stand people that pull up receipts on Twitter because you had a wrong opinion 2 years ago. Who gives a shit?
It makes them feel better about themselves.
Like, I'm smarter than you. Like, who cares?
That? Right, exactly. I was right about this. What do you want, a cookie? Is that what you want? Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
The guys that make tens of millions of dollars on ESPN are wrong, too. Yeah. You think they give a damn at the end of the day that their opinion's wrong? They give an opinion. Sometimes you're right about it. Sometimes you're wrong about it. That is human nature. It doesn't matter if it's football, baseball, basketball. It doesn't matter if it's a paint color. It doesn't matter if it's lawn fertilizer. Some people do that with relationships. Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're wrong. It's being a human. Everybody makes mistakes. But the people that act like they're always right, they just crack me up. It's like they need some kind of self-vindication because they don't have anything else. When you go on social media to tell somebody a take they had from 3 years ago was wrong, you really need to find something else to do with yourself. You gotta find some meaning in your life.
Yeah, it is, man. You sometimes, like you said, man, you move on. Who cares?
Who gives a shit? Seriously.
And
I also said Daniel Jones would be better than Dwayne Haskins, God rest his soul, right? Did that happen? Is he better than Mitch Trubisky? I said that too. Is he better than Sam Darnold? I said that too, right? Nobody cares. You said Daniel Jones would be better than Dak Prescott. This year, Daniel Jones might be better than Dak Prescott.
I think he is. People just hear the word. People just hear the word. Like, listen. Let's ask you. I don't even have the current chat in front of me, but who has the better supporting cast? Baddog, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Who is the better supporting cast? Dak Prescott or Daniel Jones?
Oh, is that even a question?
Okay, so we could start off by saying that Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb and
Tony Pollard,
and their offensive line is much better. Who is now year 3 in the same offensive scheme, and who is it now year 1 in a new offensive scheme?
Right, Dak.
Okay, now I'm going to read Dak. Now that we've accounted for all the variables, and we're not just looking at record, Dak Prescott this year has 17 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. 17 touchdowns and 11 interceptions for the Dallas Cowboys, and he just lost today to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Daniel Jones is playing at least as good as Dak Prescott this year, probably better.
Yeah.
That's the truth this year. Dak's not playing well.
No, he's not. Cowboy fans are all over Dak Prescott.
And Blake, man, they were much, man. Why is Kenny Golladay falling off so bad? Didn't he lead the NFL in receiving touchdown? Yeah, that was 2019. 2020, he only played half a season. I think he only had 2 touchdowns. At the end of the day, Blake, I don't even think Kenny Golladay fell off. I think the Giants were desperate, and I think they signed damaged goods. That's what I think it was. And I also think that Kenny Golladay does not fit this offense at all.
Not at all.
I think he fit the Garrett offense relatively well. I think that's why they were so interested in him, and they were desperate for a number 1 wide receiver. But I said it before the year started. I was really nervous about how he was going to fit into this offense. He doesn't fit the offense, and he's just not near the same player that he was. I think he's damaged goods. He had the hip injury. The Giants kept him here for a sleepover for like 3 days as they looked over him, and we were all excited because we were desperate as fans. We knew that Daniel Jones needed help, but I don't think he's the same player that he was. He's just the guy got beat out by David Sills in training camp. That tells you basically all you need to know about him.
And he would have got beat out by Colin Johnson had he made it through training.
He's not the same player.
No, he's not. Listen, Dave Gettleman knew this is my last year. I got to make something happen. I'm going to take the best available guy in the market. It's kind of like he did with Nate Solder, and both of them were massive failures. It is what it is with Kenny Golladay. It didn't work. We move on. That's why we have and that's the whole thing. People are like, oh, Baddog, you're wrong about Jalen Hurts. I'm a freaking YouTuber. I'm a fan. I have no affiliation with the NFL. I don't claim to be an expert. I don't claim to be any of this. Dave Gettleman is an expert. A guy that got paid tens of millions of dollars to run a franchise. How many times is he wrong? This is like, you were wrong. No shit, I was wrong. How many times is Dave Gettleman wrong? How many times have GMs been wrong? And that is their job. This ain't my job. I'm a fan. I just give you my opinion. That's all it is. My opinion's right. My opinion's wrong. But I'm not building a franchise. I know all you Madden GMs. Oh, look at me. I was right. I picked a guy with a Madden. It's ruined the fan. I swear to God. It's ruined the NFL fan.
So is fantasy football.
Yeah, that's really ruined the NFL.
And I love fantasy football. I partake in it. But MY Giants 26 says, I hope we take a wide receiver in the first round. I hope we take the best player in the first round. And I hope the best player ideally is a wide receiver, but I hope we take the best player in the first round. There's way too many needs on this team if the Giants don't really like a wide receiver where they're picking to bypass a really good linebacker or to bypass a really good cornerback if they feel they're much more talented than the wide receiver that may necessarily be on the board. So my answer to you is I hope we take the best player at a position of need in this year's draft. Ideally, yeah, I want it to be a wide receiver because we need a lot of help there, but you could potentially improve the wide receiver position via trade, via free agency. There's other avenues that you could take. And I'm leaning that we will take a wide receiver if it makes sense and they really like a guy there. But I don't think you could force the pick.
No, you take best available. We have a lot of holes in this team. So if the best available is a cornerback and we need that, or an inside linebacker or an interior offensive lineman, that's where you go. All of those are major needs for the Giants. And again, it also depends on what we do in free agency. If they do go out and sign a McCole Hartman, then maybe at that point they're like, nope, we're going to take a corner, or we're going to take an interior up, we're going to take a center, whoever it is. Best player available, unless we don't need a defensive tackle. So I would not go there.
Yeah.
But we don't need an edge rusher. We got 2 good edge rushers. I'm not looking there. But again, interior O-line, interior linebacker, safety, and cornerback. definitely things that we could use outside of a wide receiver. But if the Giants take one of those positions in free agency, then they do look at wide receiver.
Yeah,
I'm okay whatever position they go. I'm going to be okay with it because I have to believe that these guys know what the hell they're doing. That's just the way it goes.
And I'm leaning that they will go wide receiver, especially if they're not taking a quarterback. I'm leaning that's where they'll go, but there's no guarantee that they will. And I think you also have to realize we're so accustomed to the Giants picking top 5 in the draft. I think when you're picking top 5 in the draft, you assess need a little bit more than you would when you're picking 20. Yeah. I think by the time the draft gets to 20, you're just trying to pick the best player you can at that spot. And you want to do that early in the draft too, but I think you measure need a little bit more when you're picking top 4, top 5 in the draft because it's such a huge pick. And when you're picking that high, you're getting the best pick at each individual position.
Yeah, you can't miss because when you miss there, you in the situation we are. That's why when guys are like, oh, we need to tank for this, we need to tank for that. Why? We have had 5 top 7 picks in the last 4 years. And what the hell has it gotten us? Nothing. Nothing. It got us to 7-5-1 now. Well, where did it get us last year before we had 2 top 7 picks this year?
We got more building to do. No doubt about it.
We definitely do. So let's hope that these guys can build. And that's not where you make your money anyway. You make your money deeper in the draft because that's your depth. Now, I mentioned this. I don't know if it was on Patty's show or whatever. People talk about our injuries, and injuries suck. And we do deal with a lot. It seems like we deal with more than a lot of teams. But every team has injuries. Every freaking team. But every team has a lot better depth than we do. So when they get injured, they don't fall off as much as we do because we have no depth. So when we're up here, we get injured, it's way down. Right. I mean, our interior offensive line sucked to begin with. So when we lose that guy, think about how bad the next guy is. That Feliciano is one of your starters. That Glowinski. Think about that. You got Feliciano and Glowinski as your starters, and they go down, and you have to get somebody that's worse than that.
Well, and Lawrence Tynes also brought up a really good point in terms of our special teams. When you're as thin as we are and you start to have injuries, now you're asking some of these guys that you were planning to be, specifically special teamers to start for you and fill other holes on your team. And then you're calling up back at, practice squad guys now to fill those special teams vacancies. So it trickles down when you're as thin as we are. That's probably a large reason why our special teams have been as bad as they are. Because we're asking a lot of these guys that we initially, like Moreau, for example, he was probably initially put on this team to be a core special teamer. Now you're asking him to be a starting cornerback, so it hurts everything on the roster when you're as thin as the Giants are.
Chris, I don't know. I might have read this on Twitter. Maybe I dreamed that. Did Landon Collins get called up for the practice squad? For some reason, I thought I read that someplace.
I might have missed it. If he did, he did.
Anybody in the chat know if that? I could have been dreaming that.
I'm behind on the chat, so let me know what they say. So
I don't know.
He might have been. People have been asking.
I thought I read it someplace, but
I see it now. They did. They elevated Bredesen and Landon Collins.
Okay.
So Bredesen's probably going to start tonight, if I had to guess.
He brought back Landon Collins to go against his old team tonight. A little added incentive there.
Yeah.
One of his old teams. He's back with his old team, but obviously
Blake says, I know it's early, but save this name, Zay Flowers. I've heard the name. I haven't gotten a chance to see him.
He just scored a touchdown. I think he's on Jacksonville. I think he's on Jacksonville.
That's Zay Jones, isn't it?
Oh, maybe it is, yeah.
I'm guessing Zay Flowers is a college prospect.
I'm guessing that the Raiders just scored a touchdown.
Yeah, Zay Flowers is in college. I haven't gotten a chance to watch him.
Darren Waller's pretty good, too. Can we get a Darren Waller on our team?
That'd be nice.
Derek Carr's got pretty good talent around him, too. You got Darren Waller, one of the best tight ends in the league. I know he's been hurt. You got Devontae Adams, who may be the best receiver in the league. If not, he's right
best route runner. I'll tell you that.
Okay. And you got Josh Jacobs, who's pretty damn good. And your offensive line's not horrible. And he can't win.
The defense stinks. But, yeah, no. And he's not.
If you could sign Josh Jacobs for $6 million less a year, or maybe not $6 million less, like $3 million less a year than Barkley, you taking Josh Jacobs? You taking?
Well, I think that's even more of a reason to consider not bringing back Barkley, or at least be very strict with what you're willing to give him, because not just Josh Jacobs, but the overall free agency market.
Right, Tony Pollard's another one.
Yeah, like I'll pull it up right now, but I was looking at it the other day. Like, it's Kareem Hunt. He's a free agent. He's 27, but he's still pretty good. He's kind of in like a timeshare situation right now. Jamal Williams has played really well this year for Detroit. Josh Jacobs.
He's got 14 or 15 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, he's been good. Jacobs, like you said, Mostert is pretty good with Miami. He's 30 though. He's a free agent. Boston Scott. Let's see. Miles Sanders is a free agent. He's been great this year with
Boston
the Eagles.
Scott would be really good in practices because he'd be going against our defense if we ever took him. It's the only time that guy even shows up is against us all the time.
Jeff Wilson's a pretty good running back. He's a free agent. Marlon Mack is still relative. Like, there's so many potential guys that Tony Pollard, like you said, James Robinson. Like, there's a lot of talented running backs that are free agents this year. A lot of them. It's a rich class.
Phillips says, I hate Boston Scott. You and me both, buddy. You and me both.
And NY Giants 26 says we probably won't pick high enough to trade back with a team like the Eagles did, right? Trade back for 2 first. No, we're not going to be able to get 2 first for our pick this year. We're going to be, I mean, if we make the playoffs, we're going to be picking 20. If we don't, we're still going to probably be picking around like 16 or 17. Like, it's not going to have that much of an impact in terms of where we're picking. Right. So I doubt we're going to be able to trade back and get first-round picks this year. We're not picking high enough. Manny says, Patty, no, I don't think so. I did not connect with her on Twitter today, so probably not. But we'll have to get her on one of these shows before the end of the year. But we're on her show every week. She's awesome. But no, not today.
Yes, she is.
Desmond, what's going on, man? I live in Hawaii since I was 10. Now at 29, I'm still here. I enjoy morning football. Yeah, 5 hours, right? You get it out of the way quick. Like today, Desmond's going to be able to watch the Giant game at 3 o'clock. Imagine that.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
Dude.
Amazing. Wake up, but I have to wake up early in the morning, though. I'd have to set my alarm so I could watch some football. I'd be 8 o'clock in the morning there, or 7 o'clock. I think they're 6 hours behind us.
Yeah. You might be right. It might be 6 hours. But either way, tonight he's going to be very happy. He's going to be
I always wear West Coast. I think the West Coast has the best. In California, you wake up 10 o'clock, you got football, and football plays at 5, and it's over by 8:30. You're freaking good to go.
Yeah, like
us. We do the game at 11:30. Then you do a post game, then you're in bed at 1, and I'm up at 5:30.
If the Giants win tonight, I'm probably not going to be in bed till 2, because I'll go live after and talk with the fans. So it's like, or maybe 1:30. But by the time, and the other thing is, like, if you're a dire Giants fan, a game of this magnitude, even if I wasn't a YouTuber, you're not falling asleep.
No,
you're going to be thinking about this game until at least 2 o'clock. 1:30 if we were able to beat Washington. So. I would much prefer to be on the West Coast when it comes to that.
Right. We got to run to the bathroom real quick.
You go to the bathroom. Steve Evans says, let's go Cowboys lose today. Yeah, they lost. They lost to the Jaguars, so that was a shocker. Probably the biggest shocker of the day. I think they were like an 8-point favorite. MY Giants 26 says, I'm confident maybe not. It might have only been like 5, but either way. MY Giants 26 says, I'm confident we win tonight. The kick-ass plus playoff game, we will have a flame under our ass. I think it will mean a lot to the team and players. I'm not going to say I'm confident. I'm definitely not. I'm not going to say I'm like super confident we're going to win, but I don't think it's hopeless either, like a lot of Giants fans may think. I think it's kind of like a coin flip game. It's a team we should have beat the first time around, and we can't beat ourselves. That's what it comes down to. We got to do a better job defensively. We can't get killed in the time of possession like we did the first game, but I thought Jones and the offense looked good at spurts in that game. They showed that they could move the ball, and our pass rush looked really good. We'll see how we respond tonight. Of course, they got more rest. LeCap James, man, thank you very much, man. No excuse, but the Jets are missing 6 starters on D. Yeah, I was surprised, LeCap James, and I have a ton of respect for that Jets team. I think they've built that team very well. I think they're headed in the right direction. But I was surprised when I looked at the line this morning that the Jets were favored. I mean, like you said, they were missing a ton of starters on D. They were missing their most important player on there, or one of. Probably so is Gardner at this point. It's their most important player in their defense. But they were missing Quentin Williams, who's a huge part of that defense, and Mike White, who has been better this year than Zach Wilson. I was surprised the Jets were favored. I think they were like a 1.5 favorite going into that game, especially with the way that Detroit had been playing going in. Mike Glenn, man, thank you very much, man. DJ comparison should be RG3, not Sims, not Allen. I'm not comparing him in terms of a talent to Sims, more so his upbringing and where he came from. He's a different type of quarterback than Phil Sims. I'm not comparing his physical skill set. It was more his upbringing, where he was drafted, and how he was handled early on in his career. In terms of a skill set, he's a tough quarterback to really narrow down. He really is. He's not RG3. RG3 was more of an athlete than Daniel Jones. Of course, he got hurt his first year. He's tough. He's tough, man, for me, Bad Dog. Because every year I change my opinion because he's used differently. To me, he's different than Alex Smith. I know that people bring up that comparison, and I see it. I don't think he's very similar to Alex Smith in terms of the way that he plays. He's kind of a mix of a lot of different types of quarterbacks. He's hard. He's a hard quarterback for me to really pin down a exact type of comparison to in terms of his play style.
Yeah, I don't know.
Definitely not Josh Allen. He's not Josh Allen.
No, he's not. I wish people would stop talking about. Like I said, people talk about Josh Allen like the guy who grows on trees. Like that talent grows on trees.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's hard. It's really hard for me. He's kind of like a hybrid to me. Like Alex Smith, I could see it somewhat because Alex Smith had more mobility than people gave him credit for. But I think Jones is a better runner than I think Jones is a better prospect than Alex Smith. I really do. I think he's a better prospect than Alex Smith. Alex Smith won, but Alex Smith was put in situations where he almost had no choice but to win. With the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid and everything else. And I think his ceiling is much higher than Alex Smith. To me, Alex Smith's ceiling was like next to nothing. Like he was just like a bare minimum type of quarterback. But what Alex Smith's strength was, he knew his limitations and he was as good as anybody in terms of being a game manager. Alex Smith went an entire year with the Kansas City Chiefs without throwing a touchdown to a wide receiver. I think Jones is a higher ceiling than Alex Smith. I do. I think Tannehill is probably the closest thing I could come up with, but he's still different to me than Tannehill in terms of his skill set.
Yeah. Well, like I said, for me, it was rich man's Alex Smith, which means same type of quarterback where Alex Smith wasn't a guy that was going to throw for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. He was going to be a guy that could get it done in situations. He wasn't a scrambler, but he was mobile. He could take off and get you a first down. You could run an RPO with Alex Smith, and he was smart with the football. That's why the comparison to me was Daniel Jones, but I thought Daniel Jones had a higher ceiling than Alex Smith, which is why that's why I thought Daniel Jones' ceiling was rich man's Alex Smith. He's not going to be Josh Allen. He's not going to be Pat Mahomes. He's not going to be Joe Burrow. He's not going to be Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. He's not going to be those guys.
Yeah.
He could be better than Jimmy. He could be better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Here's what I'm going to say about Alex Smith. Think about this. Alex, and I'm not trying to discredit Alex Smith. I think Alex Smith got the most out of his ability. He was a good quarterback. He was a Pro Bowl quarterback a couple of years. Alex Smith was a game manager, like a big-time game. Like Alex Smith was playing the way Daniel Jones is this year.
Yep.
With Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Like if Daniel Jones was playing the way he is this year in terms of the offensive philosophy with those pieces, I'd be disappointed. So that's why I feel like I don't think Jones would play this way if he had those two guys in the lineup. I think you'd see a more explosive, a much more explosive offense than we currently see.
Maybe.
So,
it depends on the play.
I'm not saying he'd be Pat Mahomes, but
it depends. It depends on the
And Chris says, can Isaiah Hodgins be the wide receiver 2 next year? I'm gonna say no. I don't want him to be. I like him, but I don't want him to be the wide receiver 2. If he's the starting wide receiver 2 to start the year next year, I think we got a big problem.
Yeah.
And he's played great. But he should not be the wide receiver 2 to start the year.
I mean, in 2017, I'm looking at this now. Alex Smith threw for 4,042 yards, 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
That was a great year. That was
pretty good. He led the league in quarterback rating that year as well. And a lot of it, Kansas City, 3,300 yards, 23 touchdowns, 7 picks, 32-65, 18 touchdowns, 6 picks. Like this is what I think Daniel Jones could be. 34-86, 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 3,502 yards. Yeah, that's what I mean. And being being better than that, not elite, but again, rich man's Alex Smith says to me, Daniel Jones can throw 30 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. And, I
don't even want to look at it from a statistical standpoint. I feel like he could do everything that Alex Smith can do and more. I think he's capable of more from a physical standpoint than Alex Smith.
Right, which is why.
Yeah.
Rich man's Alex Smith.
Yeah. I don't know what the statistics will look like because to me, Alex Smith was set up perfectly. But I just feel like he's a more promising physical skill set than Alex Smith.
Yep.
Sway Sports, man, thank you very much. He says, thoughts on Anthony Richardson? He's an unknown. That's my thoughts.
He's very raw.
He's raw. Exactly. He's an unknown. Am I blind to what people say they see about him? No, I could see he has potential. You could say that about a lot of quarterbacks that came out of college that had potential. There's potential. And I will be able to give a better, I guess, opinion on him as I see the draft process. But here's what I'll say, Bad Dog. I'm going to show you this throw because I see people frequently compare him to Josh Allen from a physical standpoint. If I see him make this throw at the combine, my opinion may change. But look at this throw that Josh Allen made. This is where I started to, like, my jaw dropped. And of course, I watched a lot of his game film too. While I was at, during the draft process, and I was always a big fan of Josh Allen just based off of his skill set. I don't think Josh Allen, and I'm sorry, Anthony Richardson is capable of making this throw. I just don't. But that's not a knock on Anthony Richardson. That's this to me. When I watched Josh Allen during the draft process, my jaw dropped. I was like, I've never seen this in terms of his ability to throw the football and just his overall arm strength. But look at this throw, 80 yards. Now, again, a controlled environment, everything else we could say, right? Look at this throw. I don't think Anthony Richardson is making this throw. And I hear people bring him up in terms of Josh Allen because that's the popular thing to do. And he didn't make one throw like this. He made several throws like this. That's 80 yards.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Like, when people bring up the comparison to Josh Allen, to me, the reason they're bringing up the comparison to Josh Allen more than anything else is because of the measurables. They see a guy that's big, that can run people over. He has an above-average arm. But do I think he's got the physical skill set of a guy like Josh Allen coming out of college? Absolutely not. I just don't.
No, if he did, Chris, he'd be the number one pick in the draft.
Yeah, and another thing I hear all the time is, like, Josh Allen wasn't thought to be a great quarterback prospect. Josh Allen went 7th overall in what was thought to be the richest quarterback draft class in over a decade.
Not to mention, let's talk about him going number 1 overall.
Yeah, so, like, it wasn't like he was thought of as like this nonsense quarterback prospect. Like, he was right up there by a lot of people in terms of with Darnold and Rosen and everybody else who were thought to be some of the best quarterback prospects in years.
Yeah.
But if he makes a throw like that, yeah. Maybe
all the people that clamor for Anthony Richardson, I wonder if how many of them actually watched him play. I wonder how many of them actually watch Anthony Richardson play at Florida. Or they just see this name on Twitter and that's just become a popular name. So everybody's like, oh, we got to get Anthony Richardson. But I wonder how many of them actually watched him play and see what he's done at Florida.
Yeah.
He didn't he didn't knock my socks
off.
No,
in terms of a quarterback prospect, in terms of where and I think people realize that, and now you're starting to hear it trickle in from NFL draft experts. You didn't hear this at the beginning of the year when people were saying he was definitely a top first-round pick, first half of the first-round pick. Now you're hearing from several people they feel he's a 2-year project because they see what you're talking about. They see his inability to read defenses, and he needs growth. He's a project.
Right.
Could he morph into something great? Sure. That's a lot of quarterback prospects.
Exactly. But is that what you want to hang your hat on when you're a new GM and you have a lot of other holes on your team? You want to sit there and take a project that's going to take 2 years to develop? This is why Malik Willis went in the 3rd round. Not because Malik Willis may not turn into something good, but because he's not a finished product. So he went late in the draft. Nobody was going to take a project in a top 10 pick. It's not going to happen. Nobody's taking any of these quarterbacks. I mean, there was one quarterback that went in the 1st round this year.
And that was a bad pick, in my opinion.
Right. Well, Pittsburgh's paying for that now, but
yeah, I didn't like it when they made it. But
Brock Purdy seems the best quarterback out of this draft class.
It's true because of the situation he's been put in. But I like Richardson more than Malik Willis. I'll say that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that Malik Willis is not a finished product coming out of college, and Anthony Richardson's not a finished product. So, do you really want to bring in a guy that you're trying to develop with the team that we have?
Yeah.
If you have a team like the Titans, where you've been the number 1 seed in the AFC, and you have your quarterback, and you can take that chance, or Kansas City a couple of years ago, not now, obviously, but if you have
or the
that,
Eagles when they went up for Wentz, or the Niners when they went up for Lance, or
if you have that and you want to take a guy that you think could develop into something when you have a good roster to support him, different story. But you don't want to take a guy that you're trying to develop and throw him into the fire when you got no offensive line here.
Yeah.
and you're going to Richie James.
Like I've seen people in the chat and on Twitter bring up that, well, you could sit him for a year. And yes, if you draft a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round, yes. If you draft a guy in the 1st round with this team, he's not sitting.
No.
He's not sitting.
No.
He's going to be thrown right into the fire. We're not a team like the Chiefs who had the number 1 seed in the AFC when they went up and got their quarterback, and they said, yeah, you could sit for a year under Alex Smith, or the Packers for Jordan Love that said you could sit for a year, or the Niners with Trey Lance, they said you could sit for a year. We don't have that. No, that guy's getting thrown right into the fire.
Yeah.
Mike says, let's not forget we need to spend money on the defense. We can't stop the run. I agree. As a matter of fact, and again, this is without me looking at the free agency class, and obviously I'm going to talk a lot about the offseason when the offseason's here in terms of what I think they should do or what they can do. But I've said now in recent weeks, if we do spend somewhat in free agency, I don't think we're going to spend like crazy. But if we do bring in a couple of outside guys, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they did what they did in 2020. I think it was 2020 when they signed Blake Martinez. I could see us going after an established linebacker this year. It's a huge need. And typically linebackers don't make a whole lot of money in terms of other positions on a roster. So I could certainly see us spending a bit on the linebacker position in free agency. I wouldn't be surprised at all. As well as cornerback, wide receiver, everything else. We're going to end this in about like 10 minutes of just catching up with everybody's donations. Thank you to everybody for being here. We appreciate it. We're going to be live on Baddogs tonight. Biggest game. What time's kickoff, Baddog?
8:15. So we'll be live at
7:45.
Yeah.
We'll be live a half hour before kickoff. Kevin, man, thank you very much, man. What's the game plan? Fellas, feed Saquon. I mean, at some point, yes. You have to get to feeding Saquon. He's still the best playmaker on this team. It's still what the offense revolves around, the running dynamic between Barkley and Saquon. But I'm sorry, Barkley and Jones. But I think what we said earlier is what I think they should do, and it's kind of what I expect them to do. I don't think they're going to come out just running the ball up the middle. I think they have to come out throwing the ball to open up their defense a little bit. You have to be a little bit more unpredictable. So I expect them, and I actually want them to throw the ball to set up the run. At the end of the game, I'm hoping it's a 50-50 disparity, and we run the ball a lot, similar to what we did against Jacksonville. But I'd like to open it up by throwing a bit early on this week.
Cincinnati's was in 10-0, man. Can't predict. You can't Tampa Bay. You can't predict the NFL.
It's crazy
at all.
Two Project says Jones gone after this season, even if we make the playoffs. Two different coaching staffs running the same offense. He doesn't have the it factor. We'll see at the end of the year, and everybody's gonna have their predictions. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Who cares? I'll say it. But I don't think they're gonna move on from Daniel Jones. I could be wrong, though. I could easily be wrong, and I will give my reasons more in detail during the offseason. But we'll see at the end of this game. My opinion may alter throughout the year, but right now going into this game, I think they're going to keep Daniel Jones, but I think it's going to be a short-term commitment.
Yep.
And R3 says, I'm excited for this game. Honestly, if you've been with this team for the past couple of years, this is an amazing year. Bring the heat and bring the wrecking crew. We're used to it. Let's go, Giants. Let's get a win. Let's go, man. We need this win today, Bad Dog.
Definitely. Huge.
And Kevin says, thanks, Bad Dog, for Nick's ice cream. It's really, everybody seems to love Nick's ice cream.
Nick's ice cream is the shiznit. That's why. It is really good. And it's really good. And like I said, it's got very little fat compared to other ice creams. I mean, I can tell you, I bought my wife ice cream yesterday. Well, it was my cheat day. And I got Nick's because I just like Nick's anyway. But she's like, just surprise me. So I got this Ben & Jerry's. It's like a toffee coffee thing. I'm like, it looks really good. 1,210 calories in the pint of that, as opposed to 250 calories in the pint of mint chocolate chip from Nick's. That's the difference. 1,000 more calories. Now, I indulged in some of that other ice cream because, like I said, Saturdays don't matter. But that's why I go with Nick's. It's just healthier, but it's damn good too. So,
and
a lot of people do like Nick's ice cream, which is
I know every time I'm in your streams, people talk about it.
They like it. It's good stuff.
Officer Ricky says Jones not the guy. He's a good kid and plays a lot hard. He's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I don't even think we're debating that comment. I don't know. I don't think you could say for a fact, but I definitely lean more towards what you said, that he's probably not an upper echelon elite quarterback that could put the team on his back type Super Bowl winning quarterback. Any quarterback could win well, not any quarterback, but a lot of quarterbacks could win a Super Bowl if they're provided with what Nick Foles had and, Jimmy Garoppolo had with San Francisco. But I agree with you overall. I don't think he's an upper echelon elite quarterback. I never have, and I mean, I hope I do one day, but I don't think I ever will think he's Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes or that level of quarterback prospect. That doesn't mean that I'm against necessarily bringing him back short term as you fix the rest of this football team.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm also not against them drafting a quarterback if they feel they have the next Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen. I think Bad Dog and myself are in complete agreement with that.
I'm going to listen. Like I said, whatever these guys decide to do in the draft or in free agency, I'm riding with it, man. I am completely indifferent to Jones and Barkley coming back or leaving. I'm indifferent to it. I'm just going to say, okay, they made the decision for a reason, and they better be right.
Gundy says we were wrong about Wentz. I guess you're an Eagles fan when you say we. Maybe you mean Giant. I don't even think the Eagles were wrong about Wentz necessarily. I just think they screwed Wentz up personally, but obviously it's worked out for them with Hurts. But Wentz, when I watched him his first 2 or 3 years in the league, was super talented.
He is never the same after the knee injury.
He was never the same after, and he had some injuries. But I always said, man, when I watched Wentz early on in his career, he not quite as good, but he reminded me of Aaron Rodgers in terms of his physical ability. Like he was talented. James, man, thank you very much, man. Keep DJ, draft a really good quarterback to put pressure on DJ. If you keep DJ, I don't want to draft. I mean, maybe in the 3rd or 4th round, but I don't want to draft an early quarterback. If you're spending money to keep DJ short term, regardless of what the plan is long term, I would sooner just keep building up the roster. I think that's the value in bringing Daniel Jones back as opposed to trading up for a quarterback, is it enables you to keep filling the holes on this roster. If you draft a quarterback, I don't see the value in that. And like I said, if it's 4th round, whatever. But I don't want to take a quarterback in the first 2 rounds if we're bringing Daniel Jones back.
You're just taking away from another position if you do that. Because if you're drafting a quarterback, you're paying Daniel Jones all that money, and then what do you wasted a draft pick on a quarterback?
Yeah. So that's
just, I'm not.
I don't see.
Like that. You said, 4th, 5th. You want to take a swing in the dark at something like a Brock Purdy? You want to take a swing at that in the 7th round? Okay. But
even the 4th round, if you really like a guy, 4th round, like a guy with some upside that could sit for a year and grow. And worst case scenario, there's no financial commitment. You could always like similar to what the Titans did with Malik Willis, who was essentially like a 4th round pick, or I think he was very late 3rd, or what the Falcons did with Ritter, the guy that's starting now. Yeah, he was. You want to do that? You want to spend a late 3rd round pick if you really like it? That's fine. But if you're going to bring Jones back,
I didn't see if he was coming out, but if Spencer Rattler's coming out, say.
Yeah,
I don't know. Remember if he's going back to South Carolina, if he declared for the draft, but just using him as an example, if you wanted to take a guy like Spencer Rattler in the 5th round, then have at it. But I'm not drafting a quarterback in the first 2 rounds and paying Daniel Jones.
Doesn't make sense.
It's just hard to do that.
To me, the whole value of bringing Jones back is to fill the other.
Exactly. To not take a quarterback. That's
Kevin Quinn says Cowboys sucks and T-Law is the next Mahomes. I don't think the Cowboys suck, but I don't think they're elite. Trevor Lawrence is really good. I don't know if I want to use the term Mahomes, but what I'll say is of all the young quarterbacks in the league right now, he has just as much potential as anybody else to be the next guy that enters that category. Like, to me, he has just as much potential as Burrow or what's his name, Herbert. I think he's in that conversation. I do. Because I think he's only going to get better. So I'm a fan of Lawrence in terms of his potential.
Yeah, he's good.
Gunny, man, thank you very much, man. We have a lot of holes too, but you all got more. I'm assuming you're an Eagles fan, because you talked about maybe me. Oh, he might be a Washington fan because he's talking about Wentz going to Washington, perhaps.
Oh,
I think you have less holes than we do, Washington. I think you're a more developed team overall than we are right now, but that could flip real quick. Mm-hmm. Gunny says again, chain messages. Sorry, man. Trying to catch up with all these guys, and then we're going to call it a stream. But thank you to everybody for being here. It's so much fun. It was a really fun stream. Got to talk football. Always love doing that. Mr. just says if Bellinger is healthy, he needs to be in the mix heavy tonight. Probably will be if he's healthy. What's your definition of healthy, right, Baddog? I mean, in terms of heavy in the mix, he's going to get 4 or 5 targets at least if he's healthy. But to me, his value is more so blocking than anything else.
Yep, agreed.
Demir says, Chris tried to DM you on Twitter, got ideas and to talk and couldn't. Demir, at me on Twitter. Maybe I don't follow you, and I'll try to follow you so you can send me a message. Sorry. Yeah, if you should be able to message me, though, if I follow you. But thanks, man. I appreciate it, buddy. I didn't block you or anything. And let me just see here. Will J says, what's the chance of the scenario if Purdy keeps this pace up and somehow gets the Niners to the Super Bowl? What happens with Lance? That's a good question. I think Lance probably still is the starter next year because of all the draft capital they gave up. They clearly still believe in the guy. But if Purdy leads that team to a Super Bowl and he plays well doing it,
maybe they trade him.
It's going to be a lot of pressure under Trey Lance next year. It's a good problem to have, though, if you're a 49er fan. But,
right.
Yeah, they may push forward with Purdy. We'll see. I still like Lance as a prospect. I still think he has a lot of potential. He just unfortunately went down with the injury this year. But the way Purdy's playing, if he keeps playing this way, he might be the opening day starter. Mike says, how the Eagles look in 2021 with no Brown and 3 offensive linemen out? They looked a lot like us. Offensively, they looked a lot like us, Baddog, if we're being honest.
They made the playoffs, though.
They did. But, Hurts had, 16 touchdowns, 10 picks. They were a run-heavy team. They got Brown, and Devontae Smith matured more as a wide receiver, and obviously the offensive line.
And of course, they second year under the same system.
That's huge. Yeah. And John says, sup, guys, 13-1, FEF. I'm not going to say the term. Dallas sucks. Dallas loses. America wins. Good luck to your team today. We appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Frank says, I want to move on from DJ, but I'm not as high on AR as others. To me, he's only valuable if he has that Hurts plan. Similar, but AR is a much stronger arm. Well, to have the Hurts plan, we'd have to draft him in the second round. First round, you're not going to have the Hurts plan. He's going to be thrusted right into maybe Tyrod starts for 3 or 4 weeks, but he's going to be thrusted into game action in his rookie year early. He's not going to ride the bench with this team.
Well, the one that, and I don't know Anthony Richardson as a prospect because I don't watch every Florida game, but I watched a lot of Jalen Hurts at Alabama, especially at Oklahoma. And one thing I've always said about Jalen Hurts was he works very hard. He's a leader. He's got intangibles. I just never thought he could throw from the pocket the way he's developed into throwing from the pocket. I didn't think he could do that in the NFL. Now, yeah, it helps when you have weapons around him. He didn't have a good game today. I mean, he threw 2 interceptions, but I don't. From what I've seen of Anthony Richardson, I still don't think he's as good. I just don't trust Anthony Richardson. I'm not an Anthony Richardson fan. I'm just not. I don't like his game. But what the hell does that mean? It means nothing. The guy could be the next Tom Brady for all I know, or he could be the next Jamarcus Russell. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out soon. I think I got one more. Blake says, at one point I was confident Ryan Nassib would be the quarterback of the future. We traded up for Ryan Nassib, right?
Yeah, Syracuse.
I remember that. Yeah, we took him in the
fourth round or third
round. The fourth round. And then we did the same thing with Loletta.
Yeah.
And then we did the same thing with
Davis Webb.
Yeah. More often than not, those guys don't work
anyone that won Senior Bowl MVP, we took it.
Yeah. And Will J says, if Purdy does get to the bowl and Trey somehow becomes available, you think we try to swing a trade? I don't think he's going to become available with everything that the 49ers gave up. I don't think they're trading Trey Lance. I mean, I suppose it's possible, but I guess it would depend on how we felt about him as a prospect. I mean, I have no idea what Joe Schoen feels about him as a prospect, but I'm going to stay with what I've thought all along. I think it's either going to be Jones or it's going to be a rookie. I don't think we're going to trade for a quarterback. I think it's going to be Daniel Jones in 2023, or we're going to trade up for a rookie or draft a rookie where we're picking. Maybe I'll be wrong. I don't think we're trading for Jordan Love. I don't think we're trading for Trey Lance. I think it's going to be a rookie or it's going to be Daniel Jones.
Agreed.
But Baddog, you ready for the game tonight or what?
I'm going to go eat my chicken. I'm going to take a shower. I'm ready for this freaking game. As nervous as I am, I'm ready to go. I want to win. We're going to win.
You're calling it?
We're going to win.
Was that a Jim Fossil guarantee?
Pushing all my chips in the middle of the table. This team is going to the playoffs. We're winning this game tonight.
We could use that speech right now. We're kind of right in that same, not that we're as talented as that team, but we're kind of in that same spot that 2000 team was. They were 7-4, 5 games to go. We're 7-5-1, 4 games to go.
Yeah.
You pushing the chips into the center of the table.
I'm pushing them in.
Let's get this win tonight.
Let's get this win. Let's collect.
Let's get this win tonight. Guys, we'll see you over on Baddog's channel at 7:45 in a little over 2 hours. I'm going to eat. I'm going to shave. Baddog's going to eat. He doesn't have to shave.
I'm going to shower.
He's going to shower. I'm going to shower as well.
All y'all eat, shave, and shower. Get ready for this damn game. Let's go Giants.
Giants are going to win a slugfest. I think Baddog had it 19-17. I had it 19-16.
Yeah,
so
we're winning.
We both see a low-scoring slugfest. Guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll see you tonight. Let's get this win. Have a good night, guys. Or good day, rather.
Peace.